Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the X Bottom, Season 5, Episode 14. I am your host, Alejandro, with me with a cavalcade of a cast today, making his return after last week, Rick Davis. How you doing, Rick?
Good, Alex. How's everybody here doing?
Good to have you here. My usual co-host.
Aloha, Joe LaRussa.
From good old Florida. And joining us since their last appearance in the post-election episode that we recorded back in November, Ray / Sardonism. How you doing, Ray?
I'm okay.
Yeah. You have been wanting to come back to the show for like a while, and you were going to be here like 2 weeks ago, but it was...
and then we had a couch that had to come inside.
Yeah, and that was going to be me and Paul's like solo Assassin's Creed episode, so I was like, we can push it for in 2 weeks. And there you are, and there's a little kitty doing the...
This one's Rorschach. There are 3 who might show up at any given point, and this is the needy, whiny, clingy one.
Yeah, I'm gonna love looking.
Hi, Rorschach.
And there it goes. So, good having you here. Let's see how
you've insulted me. I'm leaving.
Yeah, and then the cat will be back, like they always are. And you may hear a cameo from my dog because like the time we're recording, it's a danger zone when it comes to dogs. But enough of that chatter, because this is the X Bottom Podcast, Escapes Gaming Podcast that posts every Fridays from 10 a.m. Central Time onward, God willing. Available on the YouTube channel Escape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links in the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/escapegaming. If you enjoy our show, give us a like and subscribe. And a little housekeeping, not so tiny housekeeping. Me and Joe showed up at Last Stand Media Summon Science episode this past Tuesday for Patreon subscribers, and by the time that you listen to this episode, it should be free for everyone. If you're not a Patreon sub, if you're a free scallywag, how they like to call the people that are like freeloaders over there. It was like a good three plus hours, and the LSM audience,
3 hours and 40 minutes, I think, is what it clocked in at.
Yeah,
which is on the upper end of the summon.
333, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it was 333.
Yeah, I think the longest Summon Sign episode is still the Game of the Year episode that recently...
Well, yeah, but that's like multiple episodes in one. Yeah,
exactly.
In individual episodes, they usually clock in around like 315 or so, and the high end is like 340, 5 or 350.
4 plus hours when Colin Moriarty, the owner of LSM, kind of joins in because...
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, that's been a very rare level of like the time though for it. Let's see, I'll check exactly. Yeah, 333.26 is what it says here.
Yeah, so you'll be able to go listen to that. We'll talk to
7 seconds rather off of a perfect number.
Yes. And go listen to that. It was a really fun time with me, Joe, Brad, Ellis, the host, and Hogue, who's been in the show twice. And
we're Rick Hogue, for anyone who may not know.
Exactly, and we're still trying to bring back into the show sometime. Like with the topics for the last 2 weeks, I was trying to get him in, but poor man, like it's tough.
Too late for him. You know, it's just too late to record. You know, for him most of the time.
But even when I've been like, we can adapt and move earlier just for you, it's just been tough for him. The reason you kind of know, and you for everyone that also knows why it can be something tough. But one day, like I always have to kind of schedule him very ahead in advance to just
I DM'd him. I was like, that was a great episode of Summon Sign. Let us know when you want to be back on the X button. So this is like a open invitation.
Yeah, and also as a tiny bit of housekeeping, this was something that I have been thinking about, and last week's kind of confirmed it, that I think I just was yearning for a panel show often instead of just being one-on-one, just for like my sake. I love the diversity.
Alex gets bored with me. I'm not interesting enough for him.
Yeah. And let's just say that I needed a little bit of help to withstand some horrendous takes here and there.
There's only so much you can do to withstand a tidal wave.
So he decided to bring on another Genshin Impact player because he didn't want to talk about any other games tonight.
Yeah, but that's why like Rick is now our other rotating host every 2 weeks now. Welcome Rick officially as a rotating host, like in the weeks that Paul is not in. So kind of how it works. That Joe is always with me. We're kind of like the regulars, and right now the rotation is right. So right now we got Rick. Next week Paul is gonna come back, and then the week after Rick will be there. And then depending on the week, if there's something big, or if we're all playing the same game, or if there's like a big event in gaming and all that, that's when Rick will also show up during Paul's episodes. So for now, Rick is gonna be with us like in those on again and off again weeks. plus more that I'll talk about later. But before we get
Yeah,
that,
so in advance, I want to apologize for everybody for having to listen to my insane ramblings more often than you're probably used to. But
yes, but I feel like double rambling is gonna cancel each other out. So,
We'll find out.
Not how that works.
yes. Hey, so sometimes like two positives can make a negative. I don't know if that's how it works, but ignore that stupidity. Time to talk about what we've been playing. So let me start with Joe because you're still playing your same two games. That's what we always talk about.
No, because I've been putting a lot of time into Yakuza Kiwami, actually. So yeah, I've been playing my Kingdom Come Deliverance. Obviously, I'm in a different location here. I have moved down to my Florida condo for the month here, and I will not have Kingdom Come available because I don't have my normal PC rig. So that's on pause. I'm still loving that game. It's still amazing. Still really excited to finish it. I'm making progress. I think I'm kind of nearing the like end-ish, maybe. I don't really know, just because I've cleared the second map, like I've opened it up. I still have a few side quests to do there, but yeah, so that's been really fun. I pretty much paused Monster Hunter World just because everyone else seems to have paused. It's not World Wilds, and it's because everyone else seems to have paused it. So I'm waiting for people to like jump back in so I have people to play with again, because I don't. It's just hunting monsters. Like that's all it is, that game, and the hunting the monsters is the most fun when you have people. So
I'm
really what
surprised.
I've been doing. I was doing these. I was talked about this on the Summon Side episodes. I've been playing Yakuza Kiwami, and I played a few hours of Inzoi, which is the Sims-like, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'll talk quickly about Inzoi. It's an early access game by Krafton. It's Sims, but way more detailed, but also still somehow more barren because it is early access. The long and short of it is I don't want to talk too much about it because I haven't put a ton of time. I put like 3 hours into it, which is enough time to get some basic impressions of it because it is early access. It's not worth buying right now. You can check it out if you really love Sims and you want to see what a proper Sims 3 successor could be like in the modern era, instead of the back to cordoned off zones like Sims 4 became. But it's cool. It's just not there yet. It needs a lot of work, and they're gonna do it. They've got patches and roadmaps and things. So it's only $40. It is cool, and I don't think it's gonna go up when it releases 1.0 or anything. And I'm pretty sure they said all of their content's free. Don't think they're charging for any of it. So yeah, check it out if you are interested at all. You can look at it before you buy it, and just remember if you're gonna buy it, it is very early access. But yeah, and then other than that, my primary game lately, until my Assassin's Creed Shadows issue is resolved someday, which maybe it will be, but is Yakuza Kiwami. I've started the platinum journey for Kiwami. I have completed the climax battles, is what they're called. Those are the 30 extremely either difficult or annoying challenges that you have to do that are outside of the storyline setting of the game. It's just literally it loads you into a challenge and you fight. And they're terrible. They're very, very frustrating. Not all of them are. Some of them are fine, but a lot of them are really annoying. And it's kind of like a point of pride, a good feeling that you get through it because they are so hassly. And I did all that. And so with that done, that just means that what's left is 100% of the completion list and then doing the legend difficulty playthrough. I'm going to do the 100% completion list first because you get to take all of your, you don't get this in 0, but in Kiwami 1, you get to take all of your new stuff into New Game Plus and get your trophy on New Game Plus. You can't get the legend trophy in 0 on New Game Plus. It's not allowed, which is really annoying, which meant that I had to do 50% of the 0 completion list to re-unlock the golden pistol and get like to make the game easy to do because it's hard otherwise, cheesing it. So point is, Kiwami, that's what I've been playing a lot. I really love Yakuza games. Everyone knows that. I am just before this podcast, I completed the pool challenges. I had to get 3 combination shots and 3 carom shots in pool. And if you don't know what those are, you don't need to. It's okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, since you are the Yakuza guy, which is better to play first, Kiwami or 0?
0.
Kiwami, do not let him tell you. It is Kiwami.
Oh, I started something. I didn't mean to, but I'm not going to stop it either.
Entire context of Majima if you play 0 first.
What if I already know the context?
I don't think you lose the context. I think that 0 is the best place to start. It is for a couple of reasons. The first reason is it is one of, if not the best in the series, which I think is a good thing because it'll hook you. If you like that game, you're like, oh, I really like this, let me play more. So it will be a little bit of an oomph to get you through some of the more frustrating doldrums of like the remaster trilogy of Yakuza, which is Yakuza 3 or 4 and 5, which are
I was
4 is
gonna
not so bad.
say,
5 is crazy long.
I think 3 is the one that my boyfriend said really needs the Kiwami treatment.
It does, for sure. Just because it's so bad in the combat.
It's basically an early PS3 game, so that's
Yeah.
why.
Which is wild to think. Yeah.
It is. And it's not bad.
Also, it actually was a PS2 game as well, just not in the States.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad to play. It's just it's not like it's impossible to play, but it's just not as fun to play because the combat is rough and you're really like they're just blocking the whole time, and you're just like one time you get a hit through. So that can be annoying, but it's still a good game. I really like the story of 3 actually. And 3 is where you meet some characters that you will remember and love for the rest of the games, and that may or may not have resulted in me crying my eyes out at the end of Like a Dragon Guide and the Man Who Erased His Name, maybe. Yeah, so I think 0 because it gives you that quality hook, and it is a prequel. So yes, to some extent you're like, oh, I have this. You could play Kiwami and see the story, and then be like, oh, but now here's all the stuff in the back. But I like playing things in a chronological order because I don't think that you really lose anything by playing in a different way. Now, Rick obviously disagrees. I'm happy to hear
I completely disagree with that
position on it, but I think that 0 is where I started. 0 is what hooked me.
Yeah.
0 is a good sampler of this series at its highest, and therefore it's a good way to bring somebody in. But Rick, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, Rick, because you experienced Yakuza early, right? Like you were there kind of earlier in the series.
I actually played the original game when it first came out on PS2 because I had been following it and I was a Shenmue fan, and it, at the time it's like, wow, that actually looks a lot like Shenmue. Now it's obviously somewhat the other way around as Yakuza has become the significantly larger series.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was one of the fans that had given up hope because it was so long when 3 came out. I mean, obviously it was a pretty lengthy period between the first and especially the second to be ported to the States. But I kept holding out hope for 3 because I was, I had heard how great 3 was and how much Japan really, really enjoyed it. And it just seemed painfully obvious it was never going to happen. And I don't remember what eventually made it cut. Like, they just kind of randomly announced it. Everyone kind of complained because there was a fair bit of stuff that was taken out of it. Like
so much stuff. It's a huge cut. They put most of it back in for the remaster.
Yeah, they did. In the remaster, they did. But it seemed abundantly clear 4 and 5 were never happening. However, when Sony started those, I forget what they called them, but the ones that Gio Corsi always talked about, their E3 thing, which was like where people would go and vote for what they wanted to be brought west.
Yeah.
Yakuza like crushed it every single time. So we got that. We got Dead Cells, or whatever it was called. Don't bother with that. Dead Souls, that's it. Yeah,
we don't have Dead Souls West. That's not localized.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
On PS3.
Localized?
And Xbox 360. Yes. It's
not on 360, just on PlayStation.
It was also released on 360. Because it was one of the things that when the 360 store was going away, suddenly became crucial for boyfriend to get because physical is apparently really hard to get. Yeah, it's on 360.
Yeah, PS. I see it on PS3, 2011, March 7, 2011. And 2 days after the release of Yakuza 4 in North America. Yeah. So.
But yeah, so we got those 3, which actually, well, when they had announced 5, they kind of glossed over it, like almost like it was no surprise that it's what was picked.
Yeah, well, 5 never got a physical release until the remaster.
Correct.
Because they included. I have the remaster collection. They actually include an empty PS3 box for the collectors, for people who want to just have the box on their shelf. It's empty. There's no disc.
That's so funny.
I actually don't remember that, but I knew it was digital. I do remember that, but I was like, well, I'll take what I can get at this point. But yeah, so I've basically been a fan of that series since day one. I always held out hope that we would eventually get Ishin, which we did. I'd like to see. Was it Kessen? I think is the other one. We'll probably never get that one.
Yeah, Kensen, I think.
Yeah. And there technically is a PSP one. I don't really care if we get that or not.
2 PSP games. It's Kuroyu and Kuroyu 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care if we ever get those, but the
Kensen one is basically Ishin in an earlier era. It's like the 1400s or 1500s or something instead of the 17 or 18. Whatever Ishin, I haven't played Ishin yet, but whatever Ishin's in, it's like a couple hundred years earlier.
I want to say, what time period is Rise of the Ronin takes place in a
Bakumatsu period. It's
because that's when Ishin would take place.
Yeah.
The character that Kazuma is actually one of the characters in Rise of Ronin.
Yeah. I think it's called the Bakumatsu period.
That's right.
Right, is that right? Bakumatsu
Ryoto
period.
Sakamura or something like that. That's who he is in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, like I said, I know a lot of people do say Zero is a good starting point. I simply just do not agree with that.
So
now
why? Why?
Well, I'm about to get there. You are right. Zero is the better game. I'm not debating that whatsoever.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that Zero is made with certain story aspects of it that maybe doesn't hurt. Maybe you don't not understand the story if you don't know what happens in at least the first game. But I think if you know what happens in the first game, it makes a lot of things in Zero much better. So now I also very much am not a play it chronologically guy at all. I firmly in the release order method.
I mean,
but,
release order would mean you'd have to do
right.
like
in this case,
like
in
1
this
through
case,
6.
in this case, that's not realistic. I understand.
Or 1
that.
through 5.
Yeah.
So in this case, I would say play Kiwami, then Zero, then Kiwami 2, which is you actually go in a nice progression of improvement there. Then unfortunately, when you get to 3, you kind of fall all the way back down at the beginning.
Yeah.
But
maybe I just watch a cutscene movie for that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless you're gonna go for the platinum.
they'd be long movies because there's a lot of cutscenes in those. But
yeah, some people are saying they don't have the platinum brain rot that you and I have.
It's
Yeah,
not
I
a brain
couldn't care
rot
less
when
about
you
the
just enjoy
trophies.
the game. It's like I just really love the games. I don't feel compelled to get the platinums. It's something I feel like, oh, I kind of want to do that.
But
So
remember,
I go do it.
the Yakuza trophies suck, but he loves them anyway.
I do.
I remember
Yakuza
that.
trophies suck, and I love them. I do. They're terrible. It's having to fight through the RNG of the Japan Catfight Club in Yakuza 0 is not a fun thing to experience.
Mhm.
Waiting and watching scantily clad animated Japanese women, wrestle each other. And I got to do it again in this one for the Mesu King cards.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know if I have to do that. I don't know if there's a trophy for the Mesu King. I don't have to collect the Mesu King cards, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Someday I'll get Shadows. Whenever it shows up at my door, I'll play that one. And then when I'm back in the apartment upstate New York, I'll be playing Kingdom Come again. And then I'll have nothing new to talk about until that's done.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wonder when you whenever you go back, like how long it takes you to then finish since you already cleared up the map. So, and speaking of Kingdom Come, Rick, you've also been playing it. You've been like for people that I talked to personally, you've been like one of the most high, like outside of Joe, the highest Kingdom Come praise. So.
Well, I mean, I also was a big fan of the original game. 2 is pretty easily the best game this year so far, and honestly, outside of 1 or 2 potential releases, I don't think there's anything that'll be better that comes out this year anyway.
What are those releases? What's going to be better?
Well, I mean, I know this is a contentious point, but I think there's definitely a fair argument to be made that if it comes out, GTA 6 has a real possibility of being up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that's about all I could see. Like, I really don't think there's much of a chance of anything else beating it, at least not for me. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of... I mean, there is a lot coming out this year that I'm looking forward to, but Kingdom Come was like a 90 out of 10 on my hype list, and somehow it actually surpassed what I was hoping for. I am playing it at an absolute snail's pace. I still have not even gotten to the wedding, which is the very beginning of the game, but...
Oh yeah, it took forever to get to the wedding. It's almost designed to not let you get to the wedding.
It really is. It really is.
I think Justin was playing for over 10 hours before the credits rolled.
Like for
for
the start.
opening credits.
Yeah, it's the wedding is a key moment. The funny thing with the wedding, without spoiling it, and Rick, you can this won't spoil anything for you, but like all the characters
when the game starts, yeah.
Right, but like all the characters that end up at the wedding, they're characters that you will have done. If you clear the map like I did, you will run into all the characters that you did quests for or with in that wedding. So it's like almost designed to have you do everything on the map before you go to the wedding, which is wild.
I won't say I've done like just like hardcore like clearing of the map. I kind of was doing that, and I'm like, man, I probably should get moving on this a little bit. But I do know certainly some characters that you're talking about, because I have done a lot of quests, and specifically right now I'm working on the string of what are they called, Game Master quests or whatever, because I know a certain character makes an appearance at the end of those, and so I wanted to get to that point to see that character. I didn't know how it would play into the wedding, so I wanted to make sure I saw that character first. I have to assume I'm getting pretty close to it because I'm doing whatever the second guy is called, the guy that's down by Nebikov or whatever it's called.
Yeah, you're close to it.
Yeah, so he says like do this one, the one that's like right by him, and then I'll tell you about the ghost or whatever. I imagine that's pretty close to the end of the chain. But I wanted to get that done, and then once I finish that, I am going to go do the wedding, and then I'm like, all right, because I also do really want to see Kuttenberg, since I've heard that it's honestly probably the best city in an open world game of all times.
Rick, you don't even like if you think you get to Kuttenberg when you get to the Kuttenberg map. I mean, yeah, you can beeline it at the Kuttenberg map straight to the city, but like I played for
is there actual stuff outside of Kuttenberg in the second map?
It's like twice the size of Trotsky.
Really? That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that because I didn't know if it was like maybe like a moat going around.
I didn't either. I really didn't either. But no, it is like Kuttenberg is just one little city in the corner of the map, all the way on the far right, and then you have the whole region up top, and the whole region leading up to it, and the whole region underneath it. The whole map of Kuttenberg, like the Kuttenberg region, is probably 2 Trotskys. Like
that's amazing. Like this game gets better and better with everything you find out about it.
It's enormous. Yeah, like you'll be like riding your horse to like go from one side to the other, and you're like, I gotta be almost there, and you're like, nope, halfway. it's crazy.
I remember before the game came out. Sorry, Ray, give me 1 second. Daniel Vavra had estimated that it was roughly double the size of the first game. That clearly is a massive underestimation then, because it's got to be like Trotsky is every bit the size of 2/3 of the original map, if not the whole original map.
Wild.
So,
yeah.
You're gonna say, Ray? Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you guys something. It's not a spoiler, but I want to ask if you've encountered a secret. Do either of you mind?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Have either of you encountered a creepy old woman on the road?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
I can't say I know for sure. I've seen a ton of different.
Trust me, you would know.
I would guess probably not then. I don't know.
Yes, the creepy. Take your headset off for a sec, Rick, and Alex can bleep us out.
That's fine. I don't care.
You're talking about running into like death on the road?
Yeah.
No way.
I definitely
Really?
Yeah, there is a creepy old woman wandering the road who knows your name, talks to you like you've known each other forever, and in a game with nothing supernatural, you might have met death.
Yeah,
that's so funny, especially for a game that is so like realistic, like in how it portrays. That's awesome.
It's so funny. Yeah, you can cut that out, Alex. We don't want to spoil that for the audience. So cut it or bleep it or something.
I'll just mark
or put up a timestamp. Put up a timestamp for when to skip to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'll just
only
timestamp
30 seconds.
Exactly.
So it wouldn't be too hard to.
Yeah.
Justin was so mad because he encountered her off stream because he had to redo a portion of the game off stream. He's been streaming a lot, and that was when he ran into her. He was like, "Of course, this happened off stream."
That alone makes me want to go back to it.
Yeah, I did. I ran into that.
She's a random encounter. She's one of the people who could just pop up while you're fast traveling.
I ran into her a long time ago. Interestingly, random encounters are not just for fast travel. You can run into random encounters while you're just manually riding. They'll still show up in the world. It just it won't stop and flag it for you because you're in the world. So like. There's this one character that's got a chain. It's a chain of random encounters, and I ran into him once fast traveling, and then the next time I ran into him, I was just riding along.
Is it
and
Lucky?
Saw someone.
Is it Lucky?
No, not Lucky. A different one. I know Lucky too. A different one.
There's also the riddle guy.
I ran into the riddle guy a bunch. No, this is the chalice guy.
Cool, man. I hear that, and I kind of want to go back. Mike, here's always my problem when it comes to like big RPG games. When I'm playing one, I just like playing that. Unfortunately, I'm on review duty for a game that's coming out soon that I know as soon as that happens, that happens. But then
hold on to it and get it as your reward when you finish that review.
Yeah, because I was trying to think of my review schedules. Is we like scheduling now since Joe is here? Like when I talk about what I would like playing after I finish that game, if I get the code or when it comes out. After that is gonna be Doom, and I know that I'll be Doom like super quick. I know that I can be.
You're not reviewing Doom though, right?
I'm not doing Doom, thankfully.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm surprised Ains is giving you Doom. That seemed like an Ains thing all the way through.
Yeah, that Eric is supposed to do that one. I know, but who knows? Because Ains has not reviewed anything yet. So I wonder if he eventually gonna be like, I want to review something like short, like short and sweet. So I'm thinking May may be the time that I do KCD2 before Lost Soul Aside at the end of May. I could kind of use that. Too. Yeah, so I could kind of use that month to kind of like get that done, because I really want to like. It's one of those games that I know it's like the praise is so loud at this point that I'm like, yeah, I cannot ignore it. Like this is the one that I cannot ignore it. This one was victim for me of review season. So.
Counterpoint though, the longer you wait, the more content is out for it too. There are 3 major expansions coming for it, and the first one should be relatively soon. I would think within the next couple months.
One,
But
like
then,
June, like you think June?
It's supposed to
maybe
be
actually, yeah, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the next. It's supposed to be like May through June window is what they gave. I'm pretty sure for
that
it.
could be the time that I jump in for that first.
Because they showed the first trailer. They showed the first trailer. I haven't watched it because I don't want to know, but they showed the first trailer for it, the Devil's Pack.
I am super hyped for the 3rd pack since you get to run your own forge, which is awesome.
Yeah.
No.
They're gonna.
Did you ever play the first one, Alex? You're a blacksmith.
Briefly.
So.
Yeah. I played it briefly, and I didn't like how it felt when I played it. But that was PS4. I haven't even tried it on PS5. So
feels way better. Feels way better on modern consoles. I can confirm. Even though it's still at 30, it does feel a lot better.
Yeah,
they're gonna release a monastery quest. I think where you actually go in the monastery again, like they did in the There's Alex in the first game. There's this whole huge. It's a main quest. There's a whole huge segment where you like infiltrate a monastery and pretend to be a monk.
That sounds awesome. I love that.
It's
such a clever game, man. Like they really deserve.
It's a good quest.
They deserve all the accolades they get for all the writing and stuff like that because it really is one of the best written games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You were saying, right?
What's funny is for the longest time I didn't even know it had a plot because I only ever heard of it in the context of like a medieval simulator and like stuff about the archery where like archery is actually super impressive because you have to practice in the game and people be like, why is shooting accurately so hard? Well, it's a medieval simulator. Have you tried practicing? And this is what I heard about it. And then it's like 2 is coming out. I'm like, there was a plot to one. I didn't even know.
Actually, the plot is the main point of these too.
Yeah. I had to like look up a tutorial on how to shoot the freaking handguns. I was like, how do I fire this thing? Like, how does this work? How do I aim?
Yeah.
And it was like, you have to look at the angle of look at this part to the ground all the way, and this is the barrel, and it meets here, and that's where it's gonna shoot, and it's like 3 inches below the barrel or whatever, where it's actually gonna end up.
Did you see the interview where I guess they asked them like, why did you make like such a meme out of this thing? And they said, well, we made it intentionally with the point of it being useless because it said at that time like that thing was darn near useless unless you fired into a giant group of people. And they said we wanted to make like that, like it's almost an intentional meme weapon.
Yeah, I don't use it, but you have to use it for like when they introduce it to you, they have like a shooting contest or whatever, and I don't like losing things, so I just was reloading till I got it. But I just had to figure out. Oh, I am a save scummer to high heaven, Rick. I will save scum everything. I will, if I choose the wrong dialogue choice for something, I'll go back, an hour to redo it sometimes. Like, I am bad. I want things to go my way because I'm not going to replay games. I don't really replay games, so it has to be perfect the first time through. That's always been my approach.
Yeah.
So,
and I love replaying. So just real quick, Ray, briefly talk about your smorgasbord of gacha games that you always like imparting the wisdom of what's happening in that side of the gaming sphere.
So yeah, I've played a bunch of games recently, and they're all free-to-play gacha games. I don't think I've played a game that costs money in like 2 months, maybe longer. I've been playing all of Hoyoverse's games since Genshin Impact. I do have Honkai Impact 3rd on my phone. I got a new phone. It can actually store all of my games. It's amazing. But HI3 is so much to catch up on, and I'm trying to catch up on things that are a little more realistic. So Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. I had given Zenless Zone Zero, wow, even I can't say the name, another try. I like it more than I did at launch. It's still their weakest game. And then also Wuthering Waves and Reverse 1999.
I want to ask about Wuthering Waves because I downloaded it earlier this year when it went free to play, and I briefly started it, and I just kept getting distracted by. As soon as I started, I got the review for Eternal Strands, and I just kind of like left it. What kind of game is Wuthering Waves?
So Wuthering Waves, I call it tongue-in-cheek, definitely not Genshin Impact, and it is in fact definitely not Genshin Impact. It has a lot of gameplay and economy in common with Genshin Impact. It's got a lot of quality of life changes from Genshin. Like, you don't have to stop and pick up the materials that the monsters drop. It just auto goes into your inventory. and you don't consume stamina when you're running outside of combat, so you can sprint
Oh, that's
infinitely
nice.
across the
It's
map.
more like like a character action based game instead of kind of like the Zelda Light of Genshin Impact.
It is very much an action game, and Genshin is too. Wuthering Waves is 3-person teams instead of 4 for Genshin. And it's got a couple of extra combat mechanics. Like you've got a meter that I think there's probably an indicator. I don't remember where it is. But it's filling up to trigger intro skills and outro skills. Everything is named musically. Everything in this game has some kind of musical reference in the name. So your character not only has their basic attack, their skill, and their ultimate, which are called the basic attack, the forte skill, and resonance liberation. It's your basic attack, skill, and ultimate, whatever. But you also have an intro skill and an outro skill, which means when that invisible meter fills up, you basically get like a QTE indicator for the other 2 characters of your team, and if you hit one of them, your current on-field character does their outro skill, and your incoming character does their intro skill. Outro skills can't get leveled, they're just on. Intro skills do get leveled, like your basic attack and skill and ultimate. So that adds a level of strategy, because building up intro and outro, like I have Verona, healer, and one of the ways that she heals is with her outro skill. Like, you don't want her on field for extended periods because she's a support, but if you do, and you're just spamming her heavy attack to get off her passive heals, and then you switch, she does extra heals on her outro. She doesn't on her intro. So there's kind of, what do I want to say? Kind of a reactivity to it that Genshin doesn't have, because Genshin, you hit the button, you switch, and you're done. Wuthering Waves, you hit the button, the new character comes in, the old character finishes what they were doing, does their outro, and leaves, while the new character is doing their intro. So there's some extra layers of strategy that opens up. It is still, you're fighting your bosses to get your materials, to ascend your characters to the next power ranking, you're fighting through domains to get your ascension materials for weapons. The plot is different because it is more of a sci-fi setting than a fantasy setting, and a little bit post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
Also, Wuthering Waves has the amnesiac hero. They're not dragging it out. You start getting hit with plot drops about your character by like the end of the first version's content. I think we're in version 2.2 right now. So I can keep going, but I think
yeah, sorry, I was just adding something. But cool. So Rick, circling back to you, you're still playing AC Shadows, right?
I am.
Yeah,
actually, I was messing with it for a few minutes before we got on here.
Yeah, you got to test the new Pisser update, right?
I did. This is another W for the PS5 Pro. No doubt about that. The Pisser update definitely makes to my eyes at least, pretty marked improvement in image quality over.
In the foliage, it's noticeable.
I don't. Was the TSSR or TSR? Was that the original?
Yeah, TAAU. TAAU. I think it was.
Oh, it's TAA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a much sharper image quality than that, and to my eyes, I've not seen anything that you lose in
switching
exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you'll have something where maybe you'll get the little, what do you call them, like the screen.
The piss glow. The piss glow.
That, or I'm talking about just upscalers in general. Sometimes you'll have the like screen door effect of it not resolving quite right.
What mode are you using, Rick?
What's that?
What mode?
He's playing performance, right?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely on performance.
Okay.
the only thing you really lose is the ray tracing, which doesn't the ray trace reflections, excuse me, which doesn't work all that well anyway because they only work up like to a certain point. So if you, when you're like running along a stream or something like that, eventually the ray trace reflections stop. So in my opinion, that looks worse than just not having them at all. And then you lose the whatever it's called, the hair physics that they use.
Not the hair physics.
The real hair or whatever they call it. But you still do get that in cutscenes. So no, so a performance on PS5 Pro is 100% the way to go. But yeah,
Not
this
the
is
not the 40 frames mode.
I do not have a 40
okay.
TV, so I can't test that. My guess is that is probably the way to go, but I can't say that with certainty.
Yeah. Your 77-inch, Joe, that you have there, does it do the 120?
Yeah.
Cool. Then do the 40.
I would say you definitely should try that.
I will. Yeah, I definitely will. I always, pretty much ever since they started introducing that mode, because I got this TV in 2021, which is right when they started introducing those 40 frames modes. I did Plague Tale and Requiem in 40 frames mode. Yeah, it's great. I love the 40 frames mode for sure. It's hugely noticeable.
Yeah, I heard the Insomniac games does the 40 frames really well, like all the Insomniac games. So.
Yep, Spider-Man. Yep.
And both the things I just mentioned that you lose, you retain in 40 frames. Now, you did not get, until the update 2 days ago, you did not get the ray trace reflections, even though they said you did. But they added it so that now in 40 mode you do get it, and you've always had the hair strands or whatever they call it. But yeah, this is a good update. Even outside of that, a couple of the quality of life features that they added are quite nice, particularly the fact that the horse can be, you can use follow rate automatically. Yeah.
Do you guys remember the NVIDIA hair physics thing that was like the thing of all things at the time of Witcher 3's launch? And they were like, no one can run this. We're adding it in anyway. Ha ha ha.
I think the Tomb Raider from 2013, when it came like to PCO, had that whole thing with the hair too. I remember all that talk. Man, how far we've come.
That's funny. I just remember like trying to turn it on because I was running on a GTX 670 at the time, which was like one of the higher cards. Because I had the one that had like 4 gigabytes of RAM. 4 gigabytes of video RAM. And and I tried turning it on and it just like tanked everything. It's like, okay, can't do it. Can't do that one.
Do you remember when however they spelled it, physics was first a thing, and something like I think Metro 2033, it absolutely ate your computer alive because it would have all the.
I think it was called.
No, it was called physics, but it was spelled like PHYSX.
Hairworks, that's what it was. NVIDIA Hairworks is what the name was.
Yeah, that was actually a part of that physics thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, because when you would turn that on, it would usually add like environmental things that are blowing around and react realistically with whatever they're doing. So like. It just destroyed your CPU because most CPUs at the time couldn't calculate that kind of stuff.
That's the same CPU I have in this computer right here. Is the AMD FX 8350. That's what I was using when I was playing The Witcher 3 and all those things. The graphics card is different because I had that 670 or whatever. The only thing I've ever changed on this computer was I got rid of that and I put in a 1080, and I got a 1080 running in here now.
So Joe, what's the last game you played on that PC before you finally went the upgrade route? Do you remember?
Let's see. I can look at my desktop here and see what's here.
In the smorgasbord of lists that we saw yesterday.
Yeah. So I know that. So I had pretty much quit PC gaming because it was so bad to play on this PC. I think one of the last games I tried playing on it was Cyberpunk, which I still haven't actually played Cyberpunk either, but I tried Cyberpunk on here.
Wait, you have not played Cyberpunk at all still, even on PS5? Oh,
no,
man.
I don't own it on PS5 because I bought the.
Don't play it on PS5 now that you have your PC.
Exactly.
Yeah,
your PC will look 100 times better.
Yeah, it's installed and downloaded and everything on my new PC. It's in the list of things to play, like Starfield. I have collector's editions for Starfield and for Cyberpunk, and I've never played either of them. So, actually, I want to show you guys something, but I don't know if I. Okay, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay, and in the meanwhile, as we wait for Joe, Rick, how are you feeling? God damn it, Bella. How are you feeling about Shadows? Still, like as a game of where you are with the amount of time that you played in, like how is it sitting with you, like in the pantheon of the series, and even like
I still love it. It's towards the top of the series for me. I don't know if I'd put it quite at the top. Hey, that's a credit chip from Starfield.
Yeah, I have the Starfield credit chip here. Yep.
Nice.
from the collector's edition. Yeah.
Look, that would make it a worthy
Cool.
one to get because like I kind of like the Starfield aesthetic and
Yeah, I have the
anyways.
watch downstairs too. I'm not gonna run and get that, but this was literally just like on the other side of this wall here, so I figured I'd grab it really quick.
Whenever you finally get your in 2082, whenever your Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition comes,
Yeah.
you'll get a Knight's Suba as well.
Yeah,
I
That's
have mine.
cool.
I have mine right about there. You probably can't see it very well, but it's right there.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
love seeing Astro right above your head. Like,
Yeah, Astro's the only one that I can make out in the collection of
Yeah,
figures.
there's
over there.
that. And behind him is the Witcher 3 Collector's Edition.
I got that too.
And then in the middle of that is Geralt with the master whatever they call it, crafted Ursine armor. That's like right in the middle, and then
Yeah, I
is
can.
the
I recognize the Witcher one because I have that statue.
and then the Halo Reach Collector's Edition is what's on the right. And
oh,
then
the Halo Reach one. I remember that collector's edition.
there's a
Man.
whole lot of other crap all throughout the room, but those are the ones you can really make out.
Exactly. The ones that are at least getting
That's Noctis right above my head right there.
Yes.
It's funny you talk about the Shadows one because as I've been dealing with this nightmare, Jing, my girlfriend, she's seen the collector's edition, like the image of it and stuff, and she's like, "Ooh, that stuff is cool. We should put that up somewhere." And I'm like, "Well, we
One day.
could have if it wasn't being shipped
Yeah.
to Florida." And then redo.
Yes, because as you were saying, Rick, you were still loving like what you played.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of do, even though I don't mind playing as Yasuke, I do kind of agree the game would have been better just having you play as Naue,
Mhm.
which, I mean, having him as a character would be fine. I don't remember if you said this, but I thought maybe the way to have done it was have you play the game as Naue, but then you have the occasional mission where you play as Yasuke. Like, that
Yeah,
would have been really cool.
I
That
curated,
would-
I
that
curated
would've
later
made him-
edition. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made him much, much cooler, even like to play as that way. And I don't think his gameplay is bad. I want to be clear about that. I really don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I-
not- it's
People say
limited.
It's good.
Yeah, it's
I would
limited.
say his combat is fun.
Mhm.
I have heard people say like, yeah, it's just bad Ghost of Tsushima combat, and that's just totally wrong. That's just
Yeah.
that could not be more inaccurate.
Mhm.
Now Ghost of Yotei maybe, since you got different weapon types,
Mhm.
but the fact that he gets a couple different kind of weapons just immediately makes it not like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, if you don't want to do any stealth, absolutely play with Yasuke. Like he has all the entire arsenal, and he murks enemies like super like in such violent ways. Like I love you probably seen that one, Joe, that where he has like the big like staff with this that he slices the arms of
The
someone and then the
Nagatina,
heads.
I think is what that's
No,
called. Yeah.
I don't watch trailers of things I'm gonna play.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I did hear in some of the other reviews, Alex. I don't know if they've patched this, but apparently when you're playing as Naue and you do a double assassination, it switches her weapon back to like the small.
It switches
weapon
it to the
thing.
Tonto, yeah,
Yeah.
but they changed that. I think they
Did
fixed
they?
that. I think so.
Okay.
I think that was part of this patch.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
good,
was
'cause I
kind
was
of
like, that sounds horrible.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, you could switch it at the press of a button. It's not like it takes much effort.
Yeah, but the moment you're in combat, if something goes wrong and you're like starting to fight, you gotta try to stay alive. I think from what I've heard, Naue only takes like a couple hits and then
Yeah, she can go down really quickly. Like
yeah,
she
so you
really,
don't you
yeah,
need those
I was-
the quick button press. You need that to stay alive.
I was about to say, my impression was that if you're in combat with Naue, you're already kind of boned.
yeah. If you're 3 and more enemies, you're boned. 1 or 2 she can
yeah, I was
handle.
gonna say against like tougher enemies, the ones that swing the club. Yeah, it's tough with her to stand a chance. But regular enemies, to be honest with you, her agility actually makes her, in a lot of ways, a lot more capable in combat than she's been given credit for.
I find that fun sometimes to have those tough enemies up against, and this is in other Assassin's Creed games because I haven't played this one, but I like having that, like, you've got a lot of enemies, hone your skills, be good. It's why I can fight like 6 dudes in Kingdom Come Deliverance right now and survive. Like,
And I still say this is the best combat in the RPG games. Like the more the deeper
Yeah, I
you
think
kind of
so,
get
too.
in, it's like
that's good.
there's a chunkiness and there's like a tightness to it that I feel like the combat in the last 3, there was something about when you were slashing an enemy and getting those sword hits, felt floaty. Like it didn't feel like it was like quite
Yeah.
connecting.
It
And there's
didn't feel like it had any impact. Whereas
Well,
here
you know
it
why
does.
that is? It's because they didn't actually have any of the like gory decapitation stuff. Like all the stuff that you have in this one in Shadows, you would like think back to Odyssey. You have the battles where you're like on Athens or Sparta, and you're just like killing a dozen dudes or 20 dudes, 25 dudes to like end that battle. You do that, like you take your giant axe, because I always did the two wielding giant two-handed weapons.
Mhm.
I'd smash and swing and nothing would happen. It would just you kill them, but you would not have any sort of showing of the impact. It would just have the you know,
So I would
damage.
say a better comparison here. You played Valhalla, correct, Joe?
Yeah.
Do you remember how in Valhalla, when let's say you were fighting 4 enemies, right? You kill 3 of them, and for the most part, they just die normally. And then the last one, when you kill them, you get like a special animation, like you know, whatever weapon
Yeah.
you're using.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works here, except you do usually get something small, like you know, you'll have the sword like cut into their shoulder, and then she rips it out or whatever. But when you kill the last one is when you get like the real flashy, like camera zooms in and gives you
Yeah.
like a special angle of it to really.
But you see the gore and the blood is the point, because you
Oh,
didn't
yes,
see,
yes.
you
Yes.
didn't see that in Odyssey and even Valhalla. Like you would do the
There was
damage,
gore
you
in
would-
Valhalla. You could decapitate people in Valhalla. There's this
a
there's
couple, but it
episode-
wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't the same. It's not like what I've heard of it.
Yeah, this is more. This is the
That's-
absolute
right. That's
Joe, you mentioned that you have an issue with Assassin's Creed Shadows that has to be resolved before you go back to it. Maybe just because I wasn't around for previous ones, I don't know what that is.
I don't have the game. I had the GameStop.
Yeah, she doesn't know
I
yeah,
ordered
Ray
the
doesn't know
collector's
Oh,
Yeah,
that-
I
that
follow
was what I
now.
meant when I said if you ever get it by
It
2082.
came with
I
a
follow,
giant sword
okay.
slice through the box, like all the way through to the collector pieces. Like the whole thing was just like shredded, as if someone like literally took a sword through it.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get a thing, you know, a new one from GameStop, but they've been, you know,
Slower than a
screwing with
turtle.
me here because I called them up and they set it up. And they said, okay, we're so sorry. Bring it to the store, return it, and we'll send the new one out when it gets processed. And I was like, okay. So I go and like a week goes by and I call them up and it's still not showing as being shipped. And they're like, oh, it has to get back to the warehouse before we can ship it. So I called the store and the store's like, oh yeah, it's going to be shipped out this week. I said, okay. So that was last week. So I called this week and I called the store. I'm like, hey, has it been shipped out yet? And the guy I'm talking to is like, oh no, it's never actually going to be shipped out to the warehouse because it's, you know, field destroy, which isn't an accurate description, but it just means that it's defective. We don't send it anywhere. And I said, but the corporate people told me that they're not going to send me the new one until it goes back to the warehouse. So I don't know what to do at this point. So I'm waiting for a call back from GameStop to just figure out what I'm supposed to do. It's very frustrating, right?
Anyone go to
Yeah,
the Spread the Nerd podcast that I guested on like a few weeks ago to hear about
Don't do this around children though. There were some words. There were definitely some words.
Yeah, you can hear the NC-17 version of a rant about like getting screwed over by GameStop.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for to figure out what I'm supposed to do, because I could order a new copy, but like I don't want to risk losing like the pre-order stuff and all that. Like I don't want to risk losing the bonuses.
You
of
won't
this
lose
game.
that. I can tell you right now, you will not lose that. So long as you can get a copy of the collector's edition, that stuff is all inside the case. So if you get the collector's edition, it's all the same.
Rick.
I had it, Joe. I like the one that I have now is a regular copy, but when I opened it and saw the Xbox version, it is a different copy of it, and it actually has a label on it that says.
Yeah,
like,
but that came with the pre-order, the Xbox one, like right? So like that was ahead of time.
No, it was the collector's edition copy, but it got the wrong copy. However, it says right on it that it is like digital content or whatever, or digital download required for some content or whatever. And on the back, it has the
codes.
No. It does not have the barcode. So the collector's edition copy of the game is a different copy than the standard retail version. So if they were to refund you and you order another one, you'll be fine. You'll get, well, assuming they send the right one, but but you will get that, like the pre-order content, if you want to call it that. There is actually technically there is no pre-order content. Yeah, there is. I'm sorry, you're right, there is.
Yeah,
but
it's a quest.
It gives you the deluxe edition of the game, which has that automatically anyway.
Okay,
I'll
try talking to GameStop one more time and see, and then I might just have to place the order for a new one. And
it almost got to the point that's almost what I did. Is I almost was just like, hey, switch it to a refund and I'll just reorder it.
I have the refund. It's on my credit card. It's like they're not getting extra money from me. It's mine. I have it.
Really?
Yeah, because I did it in store. I went to the store and handed it to them, and they were like, "Here's your credit card. Take your money back." Like
in that case, if I was you and you wanted, I would absolutely order another one, because odds are they probably processed it incorrectly as a return, because that same thing happened with me until the person told me to swap the game, but not everything else.
What a mess!
They honestly could not have handled this worse than what they did.
Nope.
Man,
no,
just
they
like
could
that.
not have.
Yeah,
it's like they just sent us pictures of middle fingers.
But Joe, you're being so grateful about that. I would be as pissed as Rick was when that happened that same day.
I mean, I was very angry when it happened, but I also don't care that much, because it's like I got other things to do. Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm a loser that had nothing else to do, so it really mattered to me.
Yes.
Yeah, the only concern I would have is not getting the collector stuff that I wanted, because I love those collector's things. I love the statues. I have the only Assassin's Creed collector's editions I don't have is like from this middle stretch of time when I think it was Watch Dogs that actually really disappointed me, and I think I stopped getting collector's editions of Assassin's Creed games for a couple of years, and then like now I kind of regret it because I love Assassin's Creed. So I don't even know what was in the collector's editions of some of the older ones. I know
only
I got
ever
like
got
Tomb
one.
and Brotherhood and all those.
Yeah, I got the collector's edition that came with like a big massive steel box for the original one back in 2007 that came with an Altair figure.
It came with the 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
So and the DVD of the making of and like a little guide. I love that copy.
Yeah,
So,
I have the Grand Theft Auto 4 collector's edition came with the steel tin. I have that tin still. Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
I think I've got that key somewhere around too.
So Rick, I wonder how much longer it'll take you to finish Shadows. From how many main targets have you beat?
A long time because I have not.
Yeah, speak.
I haven't said much.
Yeah, he hasn't said.
I've done the 3. That's it.
Like, okay. Like, oh wow. So you haven't. So you're still been like just kind of like being like in the outside. Cool.
Yeah. I don't think
take you a while.
I don't think I've even done more than maybe 1 or 2 missions looking into the other people. So
am I safe?
Yeah, you're safe.
You were safe the whole time. I gave you the number, and that was it.
I don't want the number. I don't like Rick. I am very careful about those things because to me okay, this is a little tangent example, but
it was a low number, Joe. I promise. Yeah. You know, there's higher than the number of what I said.
Exactly.
I promise.
So are you guys? Everyone here has seen The Dark Knight, right? The movie The Dark Knight. So everyone's seen that movie, right? You've seen that movie, The Dark Knight. Yes, the Batman movie, The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Chris Nolan. Okay. Yeah.
So
did I ever tell you how I got these scars?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So that movie. There's the part in the movie that is actually the like middle of the movie when the Joker is arrested. Remember that part where he's arrested in there?
Yeah.
And I thought that was the end of the movie because it was the first time I was seeing it. I didn't know. I was seeing it in theaters. I didn't know what this movie, how long it was going to be because I never look at runtimes. And the reason I don't look at runtimes and I don't want to know how long games are and I don't want to know numbers about games is because the surprise that I felt when I saw The Dark Knight in 2008 when it came out as a 15-year-old that there was still a whole half of a movie to go was so great that I was like, I don't ever want to know the length of things. I don't want to know how long they are. I don't want to know their runtimes. I don't want to know that information. So
I promise, Joe, the number that I gave, you would assume there's more targets than that.
I just wanted to explain my reaction. I'm very cautious with that sort of thing.
It is a very low number.
So, Rick, it's so bad with Joe that by the time the reviews for Veilguard came out, he begged us all to just talk about the game like with the spoiler tags on of anything. It was that bad, and we were all like,
I was so frustrated that I missed like one word to mute, and I caught the like
Maddie review
score.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. It's so funny how like
I don't want to know scores. I don't like, and like I am a huge spoiler head. I don't do spoilers. I avoid spoilers. Spoilers are anything even remotely related to the game early in the cycle, like from launch until like a week later. But once you're a week or two past it, if you're then you can start opening things up a little bit. You can start talking about the score of a game or things like that. But I still try to avoid it because I don't want to,
Yeah.
And also normally I would have played some of Shadows by now or beat it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Shadows was out and I wasn't playing Kingdom Come and I had the game, I probably would have platinumed it by now.
Probably, yeah.
Because I'm probably gonna platinum Shadows.
Yeah, I already deleted it.
But yeah, I've done very, very, very little of the main quest, and right before we started, I finished one of the groups.
Cool.
If that means anything to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
Alex's journey while he was reviewing it was very funny to listen to though, because he was like, I hate this, I love this, I hate this, I love this.
Yeah, Rick
I was really surprised to see where the score ended up, considering some of the commentary at the start.
Yes.
You broke my heart at first, Alex.
Yes.
I was like, no, that's not what I want to hear.
Yeah, I was like, it was really a literal roller coaster. And again,
Alex's process is the exact sample reason why nobody should ever let Hogue talk about video games until he's played more of the game.
Yes, literally.
Because he does that all the time.
He's
gone from like, I hate this Civilization 7 to I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did do a big 180 on Civ 7 because he's even on Sacred Symbol, or I mean, Summon Signs. He was saying how like he's like, yeah, it's got some major problems,
He
but
does it
it's
all the time.
fantastic.
It's so frustrating. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you, Rick. I don't think it looks good. And he's like, I'm gonna buy it and play it anyway. And then he ends up loving it. I'm like, what are you doing to me, man?
Yeah, it's just so funny because it's like, yeah, he's always so he's so definitive about talking about a game
Yes.
that early. That's the problem. Like I can be like, hey, I'm early. I just have to say I'm not feeling it right now, but I know I have stuff ahead. He's so definitive.
Yeah.
You were gonna say, Ray?
I don't remember.
You
Lost
lost
it.
it. You lost it. I was
What
kind
was
of like the mental.
Oh, it was. I can't fathom dropping $60-$70 plus on a game that I'm not excited about. I barely do that for games that I am excited about.
Yeah,
I cannot comment on that.
Yeah. It happens. It definitely happens. Like that was me with Dishonored and First Berserker Kazan. Because I was so Paul made the joke that I have a big issue of having money in my wallet and it's burning and it needs to be spent at a certain point. And originally I was not gonna get Kazan because I was like, Black Myth Wukong took so much out of me, like during the holiday break. Like
Wukong is a good example. Like I understand what you're saying, right? Because life is very expensive. You know, it's like costs a lot of money. I pay for this condo, but I still have rent and everything to pay for the apartment. So like life is very expensive, and my money is pretty much all accounted for right now.
Yeah.
There's no leeway in it, and so it's tough to like make those decisions. And I do factor in like other spending, like what collector's editions do I want? You know, I'm factoring the purchase of Assassin's Creed Shadows into my life. It's like Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out in March. Okay, I've got my bonus check coming in April, like that sort of thing. I'm factoring in those things because it's hard to do. You know, you got to be careful with what you buy.
Yeah.
And you know, Alex brought up Wukong. I have not purchased Black Myth Wukong yet because I know that it's going to be a game that I may not finish, and I don't want to pay full price for it. And I want to play it on my PC because it's, you know,
it'll be better.
PC.
I still haven't bought Metaphor Fantasio.
Oh,
like
man.
I want to play that game, but I know I won't play it right away when I've got XYZ games.
That's good.
Actually,
That's good to have. Yeah, that's
the
good.
only new games I've gotten recently were ones that I got for free as review copies.
Yeah, and you'll be getting a lot of those.
Because
I'm just like, true. Yes, I will take this random thing that just looks cool. Yes, give it here. Thank you.
I mean, you have to factor. Like, I was so happy that I got Avowed, the review copy for Avowed, because I was gonna buy Avowed. Like, no matter what, I would have bought Avowed. And I would have probably would have bought the premium edition of the game anyway. So you know, to me, it's like, yes, I'll take the review copy. I'm glad to have it and save the money. We're lucky, you know, we're very, very lucky and blessed to be in that position to get those copies and play those things early like that. Like Alex plays all the games early. He's getting all the love here with his Expedition 33 review, hopefully coming soon. You know,
yeah, I mean, it's like Steve made the joke. I'm a being from another dimension that bends time to its will.
Meanwhile, I've got my freaking Expedition 33 GameStop edition. Please God, let that arrive.
I'm so scared of that, dude. Because that thing is impossible to get. So if they send the wrong one again, well, actually they can't because there's no Xbox version. But so if they screw it up somehow, I'll be like, well, there's no way this one's
damaged. I just don't want it damaged. Please don't be damaged again.
Oh man, like that would be like the extra FU. Like,
is it impossible to get now?
That one
I didn't know that.
No, that one's sold out immediately, and then they put up like a second run.
I didn't know.
It kind of snuck under people's radars, and that's how I was able to get it.
I didn't even know that it sold out so quickly. Yeah,
it's sold out within I think a half hour. Them putting
it's 1 million wish lists already, which goes really well. That usually is a good
the
sign.
game is going to be huge for sure. So. I mean, the Game Pass deal alone is enough to get people to, you know, the 11 people who own Xboxes to play it. You know.
Yeah.
Did you see in the comments on YouTube that I made the joke? I made
he was like, "I own an Xbox, Joe."
I said no offense intended, just poking fun. He's like, none taken. I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
I know.
Xbox is the only one of the big three that I've never owned any of.
I have a 360 directly below, back there and directly underneath. Like, yeah,
it's just stashed there.
It's just sitting there because I brought it with me when I moved here. I did not bring it with me up to New York because I don't need it. Like,
since you have a PC, Ray, you have an Xbox because everything is an Xbox for them. So that's
everything's an Xbox.
So I forgot because that's an Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that philosophy before they even started saying it because I was like, I don't need an Xbox anymore because I'm just gonna get a new gaming PC. And
there you are. You have an Xbox through there, literally.
Yeah, in that case, it is a genuinely accurate argument. But
yes.
We'll see we'll see if they ever get the Xbox app onto the Steam Deck, because I just bought Ains's. So.
Ooh, you're the one that got it. Cool.
Yeah.
They would have to have an
Peter
Xbox
was
app
like,
that actually
you're in the
functions.
States, you take it. And then I checked, and everything that I care about is in fact playable or verified. So
yeah, the one downside of my condo setup here versus the apartment is actually that my computer setup is up here on the second floor, and the big TV, the 77 you were talking earlier, is way on the other side of the house on the floor over there. So like whereas in the condo when I played Avowed, I played half of Avowed sitting on the couch plugged into the TV on my PlayStation controller, playing that game because it's right next to one another in that tiny setup. So here I either need to like get a big TV for here or get a super duper powered HDMI cable to go run.
Yeah, what's the longest an HDMI can be? Like, do we know like what's the longest?
They can be really
25.
long. They can be like multiple tens of feet long, but you need to have them powered in order to have them anything over 10 feet, which incidentally, I bought a 15-foot powered cord for my apartment too, because it was just past the point of like you're gonna get your full performance at 15 feet or so. So yeah, I would need to get like 100 or 150 foot like powered cable. I mean, I could run it up through the attic and down through the wall and just pop it out the other side if I really wanted to. But yeah,
50 feet for standard HDMI. The AI overview, so take it with a grain of salt, says for 4K that distance is often halved.
Yeah, unless you have
well,
power,
if you 2.1, I think it is 10 feet when you need a 2.1.
Yeah, the more
cable.
powerful, the smaller the size. So.
Yeah, you literally need electric power to keep the signal boost. Like it's a signal booster built into some of the cables.
Yeah. So what I was mentioning.
How long can an HDMI 2.1 cable be without quality loss?
Yeah, I want to hear that first before going to Kazan.
Unfortunately, they gave a rough speculative figure in the HDMI spec of around 5 meters.
Damn, that is.
Which is 15 feet.
It's like 15 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not too short, but it's still it wouldn't be like good for you in
right. Exactly. Yeah. You need. Yeah. That's why you need a powered cable to boost it. Because I mean that's what they do. I mean obviously people run HDMI cables all throughout their house and they put high quality power boosted cables in. But
yeah, especially with cameras now.
Yeah, but so that's one of the cool things about my setup and how it is now. But because I like sitting at the TV, I really enjoy the TV. I mean, I have a high quality monitor as well at home, but I just there's something about that couch sitting in my lazy boy reclined with the controller.
That's why I can never be a PC guy, because I just love laying back in my couch or my bed.
That you want
I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Lay back, Rick.
I cannot play a game laying back.
I'll
do it and not just because I can't like focus. I'll do it and literally within 2 minutes I'm sitting back up and scooching around. That's why I'm in a chair like this.
I switch between like fully reclined and like sitting up and how I sit, but in the instance of like Kingdom Come, you want to be like into that game, like you want to be close.
Locked in. You want to be locked in.
Be careful. Yeah, you got to be locked in. That's exactly right. There are some games you don't need to be locked into Avowed. You can be sitting far back and relaxed in Avowed, just chilling, because it's Avowed. It's nothing. It's easy. But Kingdom Come, you want to be with that mouse and keyboard, and that fine-tuned controls and whatnot.
Yeah, but a game you have to be locked in is Kazan. So Rick, you started playing it too, and you beat the Yeti. Like how many attempts it took you?
Took me 4, but it's the first one was kind of the learn the boss, right? Like when I was doing. Plus, I went into it with 0, whatever the health thing is called in that, so I knew it wasn't going to survive. The second and third, I had him down to a sliver of health, and I screwed up missing when he would jump to grab you. And then the fourth one, I beat the snot out of him because I had the pattern down pretty well. And to be clear, I am probably the world's worst like Souls game player that plays like all of those games. No, I play them. That's the difference, and I'm.
That's fair.
Yeah, but
I get so stressed by the constant threat of death. Looks can kill you, by the way.
Ray was my lone viewer when I was like streaming Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree last year. Remember? You were there cheering me in your in the chat while I was dying constantly too.
When I was fighting the Elden boss or the Elden beast rather, I had some cheerleaders in our Discord. Yeah. So I was like, this sucks. This is a terrible fight. I hate this so much.
I hate the Elden beast so much.
That's a horrible fight. That is a horrible fight.
The one that I remember most is the like Mother of Fingers, or whatever it was called, that was like literally like just take out the palms and it's just this shape just all the fingers.
That
Yeah,
was
I think that's
just
just
a
a-
enemy.
Just
Yeah,
like a
it's a regular.
centipede, a monstrous centipede made of fingers.
Yeah, it's a normal enemy, like in a church up north in that game.
Yeah.
Was that normal? I remember a boss health bar for that one.
I probably never saw a boss for that, but there's so much in that game.
Unless you're talking about there's two of them that are like I think one is a required boss, and the Astral, the Void Eater, or something like that is one of them.
It's probably
and
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably. It looks like a giant centipede, and it like shoots like these. As another bad boss, actually.
Yes.
They really were not good ones.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of bad bosses.
Yeah,
in
Elden Ring has a
What
lot
was
of
it?
bad,
There's a
bad
lot of bad
bosses.
bosses in that game.
Meteor, Mother of Fingers.
Metra,
his
there we
name?
go. I remember now.
Legend boss in Elden Ring. Yeah.
Mhm.
What is
So
it?
Alex, how many attempts did the Yeti take you in Kazan?
It took me 3 in the demo, because I had kind of like the demo, and that's where I stopped. And then the next boss, which is kind of like the Blood Phantom, I think is what's called. I forget. It's like that one's a real like real skill check, like a really bad like you have to be really good at those dodge and those parry windows, because Kazan has this thing that more than other Souls games, it feels like the enemies that attack you have way more attack patterns that you have to be like locked into than in like a Sekiro in a game like that. And it's also very satisfying how aggressive the combat can be, to not just be kind of like a parry counter attack game that it's basically Sekiro. Like Rick got very far into Sekiro, and the beheaded monkey is the one that ended it for you, right, Rick?
No, I don't think I even fought the beheaded monkey. I killed that stupid ass monkey.
Yeah.
There was just again. Anybody that says FromSoft don't make bad bosses don't know what they're talking about, because they make plenty of them, and that was a horrible one. That was which most Sekiro fans would agree with, to be fair.
Yes,
that was a terrible boss.
Because you find finish, and then he comes back and you can kill
the corrupted ape, was that the name? Something like
corrupted
that?
ape.
Oh, that was Guardian Ape. Guardian Ape.
Guardian ape.
That was a truly horrible
You fought
boss.
Wukong.
Yeah, man, Wukong is
Yeah, I actually, funny part was I killed myself to finally beat that thing, and then I was like, all right, this took it all out of me. I didn't want to play this stupid ass game anymore.
I know that's why Joe is like so scared of getting into Souls game, because he's scared about kind of like the mental drain of getting stuck.
No, that's not
somewhere.
it at all. I just don't find it. I have never thought that would be worth it, because there's just not. It's like, why would I do that to myself? I'm not afraid of a mental drain. It's just like there are games that I could be playing that have stories, but better stories than FromSoft games, from everything I've heard.
Yeah, more
that
straightforward.
Careful saying that. You'll get attacked on the internet for
That
that.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Heard. Hey, everyone already hates my takes. What are they going to do to me, Rick?
It's already been like posted in the LSM.
It was a
side.
tie. It was 50-50 in your poll.
Yeah, in my
It was
poll, but then in
50-50.
the comments it was you instead of us.
Speaking of the soul stories, Alex, did I ever show you that book I bought? I haven't gotten it yet, but did I ever show you that?
I don't think.
I showed it to Dr. Mo on Twitter and to Ains. It is basically an Elden Ring lore book, which unfortunately was
Yes, I remember seeing it. I saw it. Like I saw it.
$270. Yeah. Yeah. Now I have the PDF file. I don't have the actual book yet. Just as a joke, actually, I'm gonna get a little like a Torah stand or something, so that I can prop it up like it's a sacred text, and I'm gonna put it behind me.
I tried Elden Ring, and the thing is, going into that game was so stressful every time, because again, constant imminent threat of death. And so I didn't like, it wasn't a game that I could just play when I was like
chilling,
brain dead and chilling. It wasn't like, it was a game that I had to like mentally prepare for, and my time for games that I need to mentally prepare for is rather limited. And as Joe said, there's other games. However, one of my proudest gamer moments still happened in that game. In the starting dungeon, when you go back and you find out that there's actually like a whole bunch of other stuff in the starting dungeon, or I think it's the actual tutorial dungeon. Like if you make a wrong turn, you're suddenly in real fight territory.
Yeah, use the stone key to get to open that gate.
I went down not the direction that Justin was telling me I should go, and I ended up fighting the guardian monster at the bottom of the dungeon. And I was underleveled. I did not have a good build for it. I'm not good at the game. And like when I told Justin where I was, he was like, "You shouldn't be there. You should leave." I'm like, "But it was really hard to get here, and I am never going to go through that again." so I have to finish this now. And I did. And I used a summon. I used every single heal I had, and I think I had 3 hit points left when it died, but I did it.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
awesome.
and as badly designed as some of those bosses can be, there's just something that there's a euphoria sometimes of beating those bosses that is just keeps you going. But it depends on the things that you prefer. I know, Joe, you prefer something more straightforward, so that's not where you derive
Yeah,
your
it
fun.
depends. I
So,
mean, I don't mind a challenge to figure out what the boss's patterns are. Like, pattern recognition is very fundamental to Yakuza games, quite frankly. You know, in some ways, some of the bosses are very much pattern recognition, especially when you get into the climax battles and like learning how to do them. Rick, do you ever do the climax battles? Do you do the super challenges? No.
No, I don't care about any of that shit. I just play the story.
Okay.
That's the only thing I care about, and,
Yeah,
and some side quests.
That's-
Yeah, so some of, I mean, but you even still, you know, some of the bosses there are like patterns. Like you need to learn their patterns, and because they can be bad. But
some of them are straight up annoying, actually.
yeah, so I don't mind patterns. One thing that I don't know if the audience, you know, knows about me is that my history in gaming is very, very heavily World of Warcraft coded. Like I played a lot of World of Warcraft in my life.
Raid bosses is very like pattern focused.
Yeah, hardcore raiding in my life was a thing for a very, very long time. I love playing World of Warcraft and playing raids and stuff, and those are very strategic and heavy related to it. And you can see right here, this is a World of Warcraft mouse that I had from forever ago that I still have, that is very sticky for some reason right now. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, so I like bosses that take strategy and take time sometimes. But the reason I stopped playing World of Warcraft is pretty much the same reason I don't play the Souls games, is because there are other games that don't take that much time and effort and repeatedly banging your head against a wall for really minimal gain. You beat the boss, but like, what are you gaining from it? At least World of Warcraft had a really interesting story going on.
I'll push back there. Like, there's some really great rewards that get you out of like some bosses in Souls games. Like, that's
well,
why
I don't mean rewards of gear. I mean like
not only that, just the reward of continue like in Elden Ring, like the reward of getting into like a different area of the map that's hidden behind one of those bosses that can be so visually sumptuous. It's like, wow, that was worth it. Like, gosh, this is cool.
I totally ended up in an area I wasn't supposed to be in.
Yeah, and I love that.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
Except I almost got a merchant killed, and fortunately there was a bonfire right there, so I could reset the zone.
Yeah. So for me, again, like that's my history with games. So I like challenges and pattern recognition to some extent in games, but really the thing that drives me forward are good stories with acceptable gameplay, which honestly kind of makes me think that if South of Midnight wasn't going to destroy my brain by having it having the on-twos animation for the cutscenes, I might enjoy that game if it's okay gameplay and a
I'll
really
be
good
honest,
story, which...
that might, I know you don't like on-twos, and I get that. It might not be as bad as you think. Like it's not nearly as juddery as...
I mean, just watching the trailers of the cutscenes, I was like, I can't watch this.
Okay,
if that didn't do it, you're not gonna do it then.
No.
Yeah.
It was really cool to hear that I thought that when people were saying that, oh, you can turn it off, I thought they meant you could turn it off altogether, not just you can turn it off in the...
it's part of the style of that game and what makes it charming.
I did have to turn it off in gameplay because I think I told you, like, it's not that... I don't mind the on-twos.
It felt like a stutter for you at specific points, right?
So the way I described it as, I'm going to say this, brain deadedly animated her that, I don't know how to best describe this, but her animation loop works on the exact same counter that the stutter effect works. So whenever that frame skip happens, it's always at the same point in her animation. So instead of looking like it's a stop motion, it looks like the animation is not looping cleanly and there's a missing frame there. And
I'm like,
I'm like, all they had to do was make her animation like 4 frames longer, and it would have fixed it. So that it's, doing the stop animation at a different point in her animation, and it wouldn't look that way. Instead, it looks like this. I'm like, this looks terrible, and I can't stand this, so I turned it off.
I mean, there's a lot that looked interesting about South of Midnight. It was never like the most interesting thing to me, but I was like, oh, this could be kind of fun. But the moment they started showing like they were moving, I was like, oh, this is like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I can watch those movies because they're like an hour and a half, I can deal with it, but a whole game worth of cutscenes of
Yeah,
that,
10 hours of that
it would
wouldn't
just not
work
be
for
fun.
you.
It would not be enjoyable for me. I don't even say fun. It would not be enjoyable.
Yeah, and I feel that's so unfortunate because I do feel South America would be a game that you would enjoy, knowing what I know about you, what you like about games. Sad for that style is just basically like bleeds you to death in that
it just hurts. It actually like makes my eyes uncomfortable to watch it. I don't
it's
know why.
probably
Like,
not worth even trying at that point. So
yeah,
I don't know where that comes from. Very few things in my life have been animated that way that I would have thought that, but I saw that game and I was like, oh, that's like Spider-Man. That was the first thing I thought when I saw that game. I was like, oh, that's like the Spider-Man animated movies.
Yeah, and I love it because I love Into the Spider-Verse so much, especially in that style.
They're great movies. I enjoy those films, but I don't like looking at them most of the time.
Yeah, and I love those films, and I like looking at them because I love the artistry of that. Again, like everyone's wired differently.
Yeah,
in the regard.
It could just be like maybe it could be the result of like the LASIK surgery that I had in my life. Like maybe
that would be interesting if that's what did it for you.
Like that could be it. I really just don't know. I just you know.
But because remember, you're also called like slight colorblind too.
Yeah,
so it's like
colorblindness and LASIK, former astigmatism. Yeah, my eyes ain't great. Everybody, my eyes ain't great.
Yeah, that explains some of like the weirdness that also include the takes. I'm just kidding.
I mean, maybe it does explain why I don't like pixel art. Who knows?
Maybe like that could actually explain like that specific take in particular. And just real quick with Kassan, you've not done the second boss yet, Rick. Right?
I have not gotten to it yet.
Okay.
No. I just got the greatsword.
Okay.
Like I did the trial to get the greatsword, and then I stopped for the night.
Yeah, there's gonna be 2 more trials before you do the boss.
Yeah, I assume one you get the spear, and then whatever.
And the one thing I'll have to at least give some credit because I wanted to test it just to see how it was, but I then flipped it again back, like had to restart the game to do it because I tried the easy mode because I was like, okay, this game is getting a lot of like fame for how hard it is in its normal mode. And I can definitely say it's one of the harder ones because of how aggressive enemies can be, but that's countered by how aggressive you can be in that game. Easy mode doesn't change how enemies behave, but it helps with the stats that it gives you initially and even how it scales going forward, that you could try to brute force being more of a button masher to try to melt the enemies quicker. And I feel that's a good compromise because they didn't dumb the game down either. Like the jetty that has like this weird, like he can grab you like in a jump and hit you from the back and then like suplex you at the time. Like he has so many like bullshit moves that's still an easy mode, but at least you'll be able to survive them instead of like feel like you're in the danger of one kill.
What do you guys think about how they actually put an easy mode in a Souls-like?
I like it.
How they did it.
It's also not the first time.
Yeah.
It seems like they basically front loaded you like 50 levels of stats. That's how they did it.
Yeah, they literally did. And what I like because I feel the other Souls like that have added easy modes include like Stellar Blade that has like that has a story mode too, and the Jedi games.
Another Crab's Treasure is definitively a Souls game that has a difficulty level too. So
yes.
It's a smaller one, obviously, but it is one nonetheless.
Yeah, I like that a lot of them are testing. Yeah, it's a good play.
I didn't know Stellar Blade was a Souls-like. I thought it was more of a Devil May Cry type.
It's weird.
No, it's not a Devil May Cry. It's kind of halfway there.
Yeah, it's like in my review, I call it kind of like a new area that these games can operate. That it's an in between an action game and a Souls-like.
Yeah,
it has the Souls-like bonfires, enemies respawning, limited health pool thing, or health restock thing, but it is more combat driven, getting the hits in there. It's good. Stellar Blade is the only Souls adjacent game I've ever actually like really played and maybe I was gonna say played and beaten, but maybe the only one I've ever actually played too. And
because you have not enjoyed it. That's so funny. You have not really played any like From Software Souls games either, right? Yeah, that's so funny. Your hatred just comes from the outside. I haven't even touched
it. It's not hatred. Again, I don't hate them. I'm so apathetic to them, and I'm apathetic to them, and I think from the outside in that they can't possibly be as good as people think that they are.
They don't try them.
They're not. I love them, and they're absolutely not as good as they're made of.
I would say with Rick too. Yeah,
I really enjoyed Stellar Blade a lot, and I went through all the way on normal. That was one of the games my girlfriend sometimes she likes to watch me play certain games, and she's like, I want to watch from the moment the demo was there. She was like, I want to watch you play this whole thing. I was like, okay. So
cool.
We did the whole game together with like her on the couch, except for like some fishing and stuff. Like I didn't progress any of the story without her there, and
it's a
cool
cool
story. Through the whole thing, and then I went back and I reloaded to get the second version of the trophy that I could get, and then all I need to do is just go through it quickly one more time to get that last trophy. Like I have everything else in this game. I just need the one last trophy for choosing the other choice.
Yeah, I would agree that there's like a special super glazing the From Software games absolutely get. Yeah, especially from like the ardent fans.
Elden Ring in particular.
Yeah, specifically Elden Ring. But I also accept that there's been some really cool ideas within those games that have been like pretty revolutionary, and
they redefine melee combat in my mind.
Yeah,
and they get all the credit in the world for that. Like with the first time I played Demon Souls back on PS3, I said, there's no melee combat that should play anything like other than like this moving forward. Now, alas, we did not get it that way, but I was like, this is the de facto melee combat.
The biggest sticking point for me with the Soul stuff really came with Elden Ring, and it's the fact that everyone's like, it's so innovative. You don't know where anything is.
Not.
There's
I
no
don't understand that it's not
anywhere. And I'm like, you mean like just
Assassin's Creed Odyssey? That's the thing. I like that it's called.
Off. Like it's not innovative.
Yeah, it's not innovative
or creative to just take away map markers.
Yeah, creative. I disagree, but I would say that calling it innovative is too much of a stretch.
Well, I wasn't saying the game's not creative. I'm saying it is not an innovative or creative thing to do.
No, I agree 100%.
Sure, I
agree 100%.
Genshin Impact does it.
So
just actually, saying, there's a reason that you can place 250 custom map markers in the current version of Genshin Impact. It's because most of your shit's not marked.
If we're gonna
Sorry, I forgot. Am I allowed to swear here?
Yes. You can.
Okay.
If we're gonna piss off an entire Crybaby fan base, of which I am part of, to be clear, here we go. I'll give an argument that I've been dying on the hill since 2022.
Say it.
All right. So Ubisoft always gets all the hate for the map markers and all that stuff. And Elden Ring was so great because it didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Horizon, Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, whatever. Go play that and turn off the map markers. And you tell me how fun that is. That game would be terrible without them.
Yeah.
Now, I acknowledge that an argument that could be made is, well, Elden Ring does a better job of showing things. To an extent. Like you see them in the distance. But the difference is, Elden Ring is also not built around progressing through a story, whereas the other games are.
Exactly.
And there's a big difference there. And if you try to bring that into your typical open world game, it would be horrible. Nobody ever complains about that with Grand Theft Auto. Did you ever notice that?
Mm-hmm. And it has markers there.
It's what basically created the open world genre as we know it. That and Ubisoft actually.
Yeah.
So it's just like people got to get a grip and stop thinking that everything should play like Elden Ring because it just shouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done. I just had to get that in there.
Exactly.
No, I agree with you, Rick. I know that people, I always make the argument. I was like, if you because when they complain about Horizon, I always say it's like you can turn the map markers off.
Yep,
like
exactly.
you have that freedom.
Yeah.
And watch how not fun it is when you do that.
Yeah. And I understand that there is an argument to be made of like, oh well, you can design a game with no map markers in mind, or you can design them with map markers in mind. And I guess you can, but unless you're a very detail-oriented, focused person with good eyesight, you're not going to notice things that are placed in a game very well without a marker. You're just not. It's just not how people. It's not how people's brains work. It's not how.
It's all about intent. Things. Yeah, it's about the intent on how you design the maps.
The reason there are street signs on the road everywhere.
Yes. And the thing is, Elden Ring is like the one thing I will give that map is that they absolutely made that map not think, there's going to be markers that are going to take it. We have to try to make everything feel like, what if I go there? What's there? And they always make sure that.
And they do a good job with that. So, no argument. Yeah. They do a good job with that.
Yes.
I'm more saying
exploration. I think that you can get that same. If you turn the map markers off in Horizon and you just ran around to explore, like you were ignoring the story, Rick. Like you said, it's very story focused. If you were just exploring the Forbidden West in Horizon Forbidden West, it would be the same experience. If there's always something.
Forbidden West, yes. I don't think that would work so well in Zero Dawn, but Forbidden West it would, yeah.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't work in Zero Dawn.
I tried it a little bit with Forbidden West, and slight yes and slight no with that, because there's clearly so much of that they accounted of that game that is meant to be carry you with like the question marker. That should be like the curiosity that you only know there's a question mark and you kind of go there. The world design itself, especially with how that game is so beautiful, but how overly beautiful it is, that its own beauty can obfuscate some of these some of its secrets that you don't know are there. So, but because that was not the intent of that game, it has to be built with that intent. Like if Horizon would like to be like that, they would have to be like, we have to make this map that all of these choices are within that map that don't require like a map for you to get there. And that's kind of like why a lot of people, I do feel that why Elden Ring gets so glazed is specifically because a lot of people felt that the check mark, the quest marker, like kind of open world was like so played out that in human nature, you're always gonna take to the thing that does the opposite. And that's kind of like what happened with Elden Ring at the
Sorry,
time.
just turn the map markers off. You can turn them off in all those games. It's nothing
Exactly,
new.
but that the thing is that some people have done it. It's like, yeah, this game is not as fun with that. Whereas Elden Ring
it's
was
not
built
made
like
to be
that.
played that way. That's
Exactly.
why.
So that's the difference.
The advantage Elden Ring has is that it's not
Played by
telling
masochists.
a story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can explore and discover as much or as little story as you want,
Mm-hmm.
and it's designed for that, which means you get to explore in whatever order. And maybe sometimes you end up somewhere that you definitely should not be. That
and find so many stories in some of the places that you get there. But they are also very particular of keeping everything so gameplay oriented and like how they deliver the lore. And that's different for someone that prefers something that's more cutscene driven.
That's
like
actually storytelling.
Exactly.
And actually, the other thing too. So I know a constant debate, and even the biggest Souls fans will agree with this one at times, is their bizarre way of telling their story, right? How it's all done through item descriptions and all that stuff.
Kassan is so good at the storytelling.
And there are some people that swear by that they think it's amazing. And these games do typically have phenomenal lore, to be honest. Like Dark Souls lore is so unbelievably deep, it's insane. However, you could certainly make an argument that if you have to have a pinning board to make sense of what's going on, it's not told well, right? And I had said, I was like, well, that's up to the opinion. I will die on the hill that was not the right way to tell your story in Elden Ring because of its size and openness and all that stuff. I was like, that was not a good way to do that. It just got so downright impossible to keep things straight. And since I decided to drop all that damn money on that book, I was like, I want to know if it's even a lore that I'm gonna like or not. So I started watching, Vati's videos. I watched some of Smotown. Smotown is actually who did the writing for this book, and I was like, okay, honestly, Elden Ring's lore is amazing, and a lot of it actually is interestingly like really left open to interpretation too. Like it's not, it's just like this would have been so much better if you would have told this lore in a better way instead of making it that you can very easily miss an entire. You go to the wrong place instead of talking to this guy, so it advances the quest 3 steps further, and now you miss all the lore about why this guy had to do with what's her name and all that stuff. And it's like, that was such a dumb way to do that.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned, Rick, because I feel Shadow of the Erdtree was them even answering the criticism of how they told the story, because the way they tell stories in Shadow of the Erdtree feels more straight and narrow, and also because the world design is more circular and more interconnected despite it still being like a big place.
Shadow of the Erdtree, based on the hour and a half that I played it, I was like, yeah, this right here is better than any area in the original Elden Ring.
Yes, immediately.
That opening area with the big, like, I assume it's supposed to be the Erdtree, decrepit or whatever in the background. Yeah. Like, this looks better than any single area in the entire base.
It makes the first game feel, it makes the base game feel bland after you go to the
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
And when you go to the different areas, it tries to be more straightforward what it's trying to tell, because it's telling the story of Mikola. So it's at least trying to, and it takes a lot of the lore that you kind of got inferred through the main game and tries to make it more obvious. That then, like, because makes it more obvious, it makes it more fucked up. Also, like what it is.
I know before it came out, everyone thought that what's his name, Moog, was actually like abducted Mikola, and it was like, oh no, that was actually the other way around.
Exactly.
I know that.
Sounds racist against Irish people.
Yes.
I'm Irish.
Yeah. Well, then you get the joke, Mikola.
Yeah.
Mikola.
That's all right. One last question on Elden Ring before we move on, because we've been talking about what we've been playing for a long time.
I know.
Did you guys do the cheese dragon or no?
The cheese dragon, I did in my second playthrough.
What, the cheese dragon?
There's like if you go to like a sleeping dragon, like in Kaled, and then you just slay it, you get a shit ton of XP to boost your stats like early on.
It doesn't ever wake up, Rick. You just like
just keep slashing.
The giant guy. The giant guy you're talking about. Yeah, I did kill him, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that in my first playthrough, but I did it for my second one.
I watched someone play Shane Satterfield of Sifted. He was playing it, and someone told him about the cheese dragon, and he went over and like did it, and I watched it, and that's it. Like, I don't have a lot of exposure to it. It's on my list. I'll play it someday. Maybe.
At least try it, so you can at least get a more personal, like.
I really want to. I do, because it does look very interesting, and I love open world games. So I have more drive to try it than I do to try the other ones, because I do love open worlds. And I am curious about it. But again, as we've said, there's always so many games. I'm still waiting on Shadows.
I know.
I'm doing my Yakuza Kiwami Platinum, which isn't really that big a deal. But
Yeah.
still, there's always so many things to do.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
Elden Ring.
Personally, I'll take Dark Souls 3 over Elden Ring every day of the week.
Dark Souls 3 is better.
Every day.
I like Dark Souls 3 better myself. Like the bosses are so much better.
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
one.
I think the bosses in Elden Ring are actually pretty much some of the
I
weakest.
feel as there were a set of bosses.
There's a couple amazing ones. There are a
Yes.
couple truly amazing ones.
but
Overall, it's a much lower quality.
Yeah, it's their worst set of bosses because there's so many of them. There's a few that are really the ones that people love are really good. It's just that there's so many subpar ones that are so depending on summons that it's like it feels like oh, you didn't really tune this right because you were accounting for everyone to be using a summon. So, and it just makes it less satisfying doing the pattern recognition, like compared to like a Dark Souls 3, that when you learn those pattern recognitions, it's so good. Especially the stupid dancer of the Borealis, whatever the thing.
That was a good one, and I really liked the Watcher of the Week or whatever it was called. The one that kept there being a bunch more of them. That was a fantastic boss. Too.
Yeah, the Biz Watcher. The Biz
Watchers. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I remember. Man, and so, but it with Kazan, I like how straightforward it is. Relatively, it tells a story. It legit tells a story. I like Ben Starr being your like a main character. He grounds. He has such a explicit voice. It was him.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's so funny because I immediately know he's so obvious in his voice, but he grounds you into like whatever nonsense you're like watching. Because
I really hope Ben Starr becomes like the next
Nolan
Troy
North
Baker.
Yeah,
he already has, to be honest with you. He is everywhere all of a sudden.
I don't really care that much for Troy Baker, but I always like Nolan North, so I really hope that Ben Starr takes over. For the
I like Troy Baker a lot. It's just that then he became so overexposed that then it's like it's Troy again. But like
because I don't really care about The Last of Us. Most of Troy Baker's performances, I just don't care about his games that much. Like they're fine, they're good, some of them. But...
So and that's why I
just had to stab me one time, didn't you, Joe?
I mean, Nolan North is Uncharted. He's Nathan Drake, and I don't really care about Nathan Drake either. I love.
He's not Nathan Drake. Yeah, Troy Baker's not Nathan Drake. That's Nolan North.
I said Nolan North is Nathan.
Nathan
Drake, but I don't care about Nathan Drake either. But I love Desmond Miles. So that's really the.
Joe, you got to stop while you're ahead, man.
Rick, Naughty Dog is
I know your opinion. It's a bad opinion, but you're allowed to have
Naughty Dog is the most overrated studio. Their games are at best 7.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up this episode. Yep. I think it's time
to talk because this is gonna come back again. But real quick, like what I play with First Berserker Kazan, like even if you want, try it on easy. Like I feel this, like at least they made a good version of this game in easy mode that doesn't compromise itself.
Is there a hard version? Is there hard mode?
Just normal. Yeah, normal is basically.
I don't know if there was hard too.
I assume there probably is after you finish it, but at the start it's just easy and normal.
Yeah, and the only way to unlock easy is if you die 3 times, then it's gonna stop you. Be like, hey, you're getting your ass kicked. There's an easy mode here if you want. Like, I
thought I could pick easy.
Oh, they're gonna do that to me. I would never be able to pick easy mode if they did it that way.
Yeah, because it doesn't allow you to pick easy from the start.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
Yakuza does that. Yakuza 0 will, if you lose enough on normal, they're like, I think you might need to go.
Yeah, the old God of War had that because there's a trophy for that to pop. Just kill yourself many times for being like, hey, you want to lower this to easy, and it gives you.
Oh, see, I just immediately started on easy. After I finished God of War 1, I was like, nope, I'm gonna go to easy because I want.
Especially because you were speed through, and it's like that's the way to do it. Like if you're interested to get a place. So
yeah, I just wanted to get the story done so that I could do 2018.
Yeah,
I think Ninja Gaiden Black was the first game to do that because that was one that added that ninja dog mode, but you could not select it. You had to die multiple times on the first level. If you beat the first level without it, you couldn't change to it later.
Kingdom Hearts 2 has an interesting mechanic. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Because I barely ever died in that, so I actually don't know.
You play as you actually can play as Mickey.
Yeah.
Enough to revive Sora.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's such a cool mechanic. If you're
on certain fights, on certain fights it does it.
Yeah.
But the original version of Kingdom Hearts 2 was so easy. If you remember, like the PS2 version of Kingdom Hearts 2 was like start so easy, and it was the final mix that added like the extra Sora fight and the difficulty. So,
I've never done those because I've only ever finished the original PS2 version of it.
Yeah, you should try the PS4 versions.
There's a lot of extra stuff in the final mix versions.
I probably will. I mean, I have them. They're all on my console. They're in my extended storage drive and whatnot, easily available. I just haven't played them because there's other things to play.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I also play South of Midnight to not make it too long. I feel that South of Midnight is a 10 out of 10 visual presentation wrapped over a 6 out of 10 video game. And I had my I did all my talk about South of Midnight over at the at the Summon Sign episodes, I'll rather point you to what I said about that game there. I still feel that way. Rick, I know that you've soured more like, the more you played on that one.
I have actually. Yeah, I went from an easy 8 to now I'm pushing probably a 6. A 6.
So, but I guess like it's if you can tolerate the gameplay, the story and its visual like presentation is worth seeing at least once. But the gameplay is rough.
The story is the 8 side. The gameplay is the 4 side. So it kind of balances between there.
Yeah, exactly. You're in your math. That's how you get to your 6 there. Yeah. But yeah. And I also mentioned that I've been kind of like going through my what I like call the sequel prep. Like I did the Ghost of Tsushima prep for Jote, and I'm also doing the one for Death Stranding. I'm still early in that replay instead of saying much. And real quick, Rick, we both tried the Metal Eden demo.
Yes. So the best way I can describe this is if Doom, we'll say Doom Eternal, and Ghost Runner were to fornicate and have an illegitimate child, that illegitimate child would be Metal Eden.
Yes.
And I very much
be illegitimate. They could get married.
No, I'm pretty sure that there are different enough universes it would have to be illegitimate. But no, if you like, I would say you probably have to like both because there is a really good equal amount of both of those in that. If you like those games, this is absolutely something to try out because I'm definitely buying it. Like this sold me on the game.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's PvE because we barely get PvE shooters that way, and one that mixes like that. Even though you cannot ADS, I was like, yeah, this is like Doom. This is not supposed to be an ADS game. This is supposed to be a
game.
That's
aim down sights for people who don't know.
Yes. There you go.
I was about to ask. Thank you.
I will say, actually, I believe based on trailers, I'm thinking that maybe some of the weapons might have an upgrade you can do it because that starting like submachine gun that has unlimited ammo. I mean, it has like an ACOG sight on it or something.
Exactly,
like that.
But you can't use it.
But you can't use it. I'm going to guess that some of them do have it because I swear in one of the trailers I saw them actually aim down sights for something.
Yeah, so. It's similar to Doom. If you notice in Doom, it's like there's only one weapon that has an ADS mode, which is like the normal assault gun. But that game's supposed to be just like a freeloader, like you're just free aiming in those games because it's all about that speed. That's
right.
It's all about never stopping.
It zooms in like this, like that's the aim down sights because like the zoom in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And arena shooters are not known for ADSing, so it's more about like kind of like that speed.
It's all about constantly moving and stuff like that, which this very much is. Like you have to be constantly moving, and the outside of the setting, the little shtick to this is you can rip out the core. Think of it as the heart. You're basically fighting like machines, right? You rip out the core, and then at first you use it basically as almost like your grenade, right? You throw it back at them,
or you absorb it.
But then you start to fight enemies that have like a certain kind of shield, so you absorb it, and it gives you like a super strong punch that you can then knock their shields down.
I knew it was gonna be a punch. I was ready up a punch at him. I have no idea what it is, but I'm like, it's gonna be a punch.
And so I assume as it goes, I assume you probably even get more. And another thing about this, I won't dwell on it too long. That is good. Weapon wheel.
Yes.
People, weapon wheel, not 2 weapons. Weapon wheel is what we want for the games like this. So thank you them for doing that.
Yeah, it's straight out of Doom. I love that.
What's the appropriate number of weapon slots on a weapon wheel?
8.
I think that 8 is probably the best, but I think you can go with 10 or 6.
Yeah, 8 I think is the right because it just offers enough variety, I would say. So.
And at that point, you can make a pretty diverse weapon set too.
Yeah, and it feels like
I want to say
like
8 is what
diverse.
this has. I think this has 8.
I think Red Dead has 4, right? I feel like 4 is so limiting, but that whole game is limiting in that sort of thing. So 4 can be okay depending on the circumstances.
Yeah.
But you can keep your other weapons on your horse, so you technically do get you just don't have them when you're walking around.
Right.
Yeah, you have more in the original Red. Yeah, in the
the
original Red Dead, I think you have more weapons that you can.
In the original, you had everything. You had everything at all times. Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has 4 that you can at max that you can have equipped if you have the right. Belt. It's what it is, the belt, because the satchel is the other thing. You can have 4 potions equipped. Rick, I'm so far in this game, I still only have 2 weapons and 1 potion.
Yeah, that's all I have too. Well,
yeah,
obviously.
It's so funny. Yeah, but I would say the Ratchet and Clank games have 8. Also and also have like rotating weapon wheels too. You can have even more than 8, but in one you have
Saints Row was 8 as well.
Yeah, 8's the right. I feel 8's the right size.
When I said that, I was specifically thinking of one game that made the drastic error of dropping. Actually, 2 games. We'll say 2 games that made a massive error of dropping their weapon wheel. First was Resistance 2. Like Resistance is built around having your entire weapon set, so that was a huge blunder. Thankfully, they brought it back for 3. And the other one was BioShock Infinite. God knows why they went to a two-weapon system. Like, God knows. God only knows why they did that. Because it was so stupid. I know they brought it back in Burial at Sea Part 2, I think.
Briefly, yeah. It was briefly when you were playing as Elizabeth. But it's so wanting to copy the Call of Duty like mode.
Yes, and it was stupid, because that's not what I want out of the BioShock. That's why I didn't like BioShock Infinite.
I enjoyed the story of Infinite, but the gameplay was a step back. It was a massive step back from the original. They had a weapon wheel.
There's always a lighthouse. There's always a man. There's always a city.
I wonder what Judas will be. If it'll go back to a weapon wheel, if it will have it at all. Like, we don't even know. It's supposed to be this year.
Whenever we see the little video that we saw, it looked like they were cycling between two. So I am concerned that that's all the more it is.
Well, we'll
that'll be a mistake.
Know. Yeah,
that'll be a mistake. But
we'll know after 12 years of development of that game. So that's all we've been playing. One of their chunkiest ones, but not too many headlines to kind of like counterbalance it. Let's read through a few of them, including Xbox Games Showcase and The Outer Worlds 2 Direct set for June 8th. So basically, like clockwork, Xbox is always in that kind of like first week of June in their usual spot for the showcase. The only thing that's going to be different for this year is that they're not doing a fan fest, which is kind of like a place where they would gather a lot of Xbox fans to go try a lot of the games that they were showing, things like have interviews with like the execs and all that. This is just going to be like a full-on digital event. That makes me slightly sad because I'm going to SGF this year.
It's a mistake on their part, I think. I think they should have gone with a live event again.
Exactly, but because it feels like them just trying to get like more throwing the towel into like what it means to be like an Xbox and just kind of like put a showcase that, to be fair to them, is like their showcases have been solid. I know last year's showcase gets too glazed as like the greatest showcase ever. I feel it's one of their best that they've done. It's just that it was a lot of old games shown 5 years before, finally showing that they were real games. And I feel a lot of people wanted to give it too much credit for that. But compared to what Sony's been doing, it's just in comparison, I feel it looks so much better. That's what's fun.
It's not hard to be better than zero.
Exactly.
So compared to what Nintendo did.
Yeah,
but we're gonna get to that later.
Exactly. I want to save some Nintendo thoughts for that for later. But yeah, so that's gonna be happening in June 8th. This broke like we're in the middle of what we have been playing. Joe, this is for you. Mafia: The Old Country, August 8th.
And me.
Yeah,
I'm a big Mafia guy.
I didn't have anything up.
Yeah, so
cool.
Well, yeah, you're not looking at the document, right?
I just pulled it up now for the game reads later, but yeah, I wasn't looking at the document.
I saw when you typed it in. Did they announce it after we started or something?
Yes, that what happened? It was like a post from Gamatsu that they posted kind of like a listing from like a Spanish thing, and down there it says available on August 8th on Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. So they had already.
That's a good date. That's a good release date for that game.
Yeah,
that game's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, I knew. I think Mafia 2 launched on. Yeah, I think Mafia 2 was also an August game, if I'm not mistaken. So
sounds right. It was a summer game for sure.
Yes, and only Mafia 3 was October. Clear. Yeah, it's good. You clear your.
I just checked my calendar. It looks clear. The whole region looks.
Yeah,
looks
and
good.
Why I mentioned specifically Joe, not to like underplay your excitement, is because Joe signed up for this. Yeah, Joe signed up for this game to review it, so you kind of now have an idea of when you want to do your writing that you've been holding after you play all those Mafia games last year.
Yeah.
I'm very, very hyped for that. That's pretty high up my list of stuff this year.
I'm so excited, especially it being more linear. I like that.
Because, it not being an open world is a good move, actually.
Yeah, because they don't do open worlds well. Let's just say it's their storytelling that where they are.
I actually like the open world of 3 to some extent. It just was it was still too janky. It's like they don't make clean enough games to make an open world function properly. Like
and my only
hunt things down and
my problem with the open world was that the activities you needed to do to trigger the next mission was very repetitive. It reminded me of they looked at Assassin's Creed 1.
That's what I was actually
I mean they were definitely repetitive, but I like that kind of thing sometimes. The thing for me was it just didn't work well. Like some of the things you couldn't finish because you couldn't find the trucks because like they weren't flagged anywhere, and it was just like you had to.
It was a technical mess. Yeah. Even after they fixed it, it still was a mess.
Rick, do you remember at launch back in 2016 that the lighting of that game was so messed up?
If you walked outside, it looked like you walked into the sun. Your screen was white.
Yeah. It looked like a hellscape sometimes.
Yeah.
you almost thought that Satan was gonna show up sometimes.
I want to say the PC version was always okay, but the console version was completely busted at launch.
Yeah,
which is disappointing because I was incredibly hyped for that game.
Because especially how good that story is still to us. Yeah, like the story of 3 is amazing. So yeah, Mafia: The Old Country, August 8th. So that for the Take-Two games. So now we finally know that's August 8th is Mafia. Late September, I think it was Borderlands 4. So this
Just September. They didn't say the date. They just said September.
Yeah, I think let me double check real quick. I remember it was a specific day because it was at the State of Play.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
so
I'm giving an exact date.
Yeah, so it was Borderlands 4. Release date is
23rd. You're right.
Yeah, the 23rd. So late September. So now we know GTA has got to land on if it's still 2025, that's a October, November. We know, like we mentioned the FLO account.
I feel like it's like a November 7th or something.
Yeah. The last GTA game was a September game, so that's out of the window for this because they're gonna give the spot to Borderlands. And
November 7th is a Friday.
Yeah, that could be.
I think it'll be November 7th.
Yeah, cool. Lock it in. Red Dead was October 28th or 27th. You can double check, Joe, if you want. So that's usually that was the last spot of Rockstar. Last time they released a game. So double check, Joe. I think it was the 25th or
26th.
26th. Okay, so it was in between my guesses. Yeah, that was around the time where we got Red Dead 2. Maybe that's when they're gonna aim for GTA 6 whenever they finally decide
they can pick their date. They're the big fish in the pond. They don't have to worry about anybody.
They can just pick their date and everybody else will reschedule to not compete.
Yeah, it's a nuclear. They're a literal nuclear bomb.
The first time that Call of Duty pushed out of its normal release window was Red Dead Redemption 2. They pushed it out.
And Red Dead's. I mean, I love Red Dead, but that's not even a wart on Grand Theft Auto's ass.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah,
for popularity, that's true. I do think that.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm not talking about quality.
Probably better than Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, I definitely think so. I love Red Dead.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 is a masterpiece.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is underbaked because they just removed the heist stuff. Like if they put the heists in, it would be an all-timer, but it's not because it doesn't have.
It's in the multiplayer.
I love the random wholesome stories that you find about Grand Theft Auto. Like a comment I saw years ago on I don't remember what YouTube channel where the guy was like talking about how he drives around in GTA 5 with his little kid and they're just learning geography and the rules of the road.
Yeah, some people started doing like this weird role playing as they were role playing like a living person in GTA and they were streaming it while they were playing GTA Online. It was so funny.
Yeah, I mean they've done that in World of Warcraft had that forever. You know, there are plenty of communities that do that sort of thing. But
and then more recently somebody got a live broadcast of I think basketball to play in GTA 5 online.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I can't wait to see. I just can't wait. I just need that for the industry to feel their butt unclench of knowing where GTA is. Because
whenever it comes out, whenever it's released, I'm gonna fly down. I have to play it here. I have to play. It's a Florida set game. I got to play it in Florida.
Or of course Florida, man. Man, but I'm just excited just to hear it because it's just gonna be an event. It's gonna be the event of the year. Like
it's going to be the biggest entertainment release in history by a not insignificant amount.
Yeah.
Oh no, not
exactly.
I mean, GTA 5 sold like made $1 billion
in its first day.
Yeah, and it's I'll bet you anything it'll dwarf that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially with a 12-year wait in between the last time. So yeah, and now we go to
is the price. You know, if they really do.
Yeah.
I still don't think they're going to. I think they're going to leave it at the typical MSRP. But
I think what they're actually going to have trouble with is if the economy is still in so much fuckery when it gets
GTA. I don't think it matters. I think people will find a way to get GTA.
Yeah, I feel any other game that's not GTA is screwed. Everyone's gonna be like, look, if it's gonna be just GTA, I'm gonna save all my money because
I will max out the credit card to get this game.
Yeah, I know people were saying that everyone's like looking into what the thing they're waiting is for GTA to be announced because they want to see console sales figures because they know a lot of people have been holding on to their PS4s and Xbox Ones and not moved over because they've been waiting for GTA 6. So that's gonna be the interesting to see like how much that boosts up like console sales. But with this whole tariff situation, it's gonna be interesting if that still plays out.
Well, that's why Sony stockpiled PS5s and PS5 Pros in the States. Like they brought a ton in.
And we learned that Nintendo also like stockpile a bunch also from Vietnam like early on for that initial wave. So now we move to slide Naughty Dog territory. Joe, you can remove your mic because we don't want to hear you. Yes.
They're going to sell you the games again.
Exactly. Naughty Dog announces complete PS5 The Last of Us collection that includes both games. It's a collector's edition that digitally is $100 and BGC says it's 120. We have Rick here that proved that in front of us that it's $10 less than
I could confirm that my wallet is $110 later, not $120 later.
exactly. And basically, this is just them repackaging the Last of Us remake and Last of Us Part 2 in time for the TV show that is launching this Sunday with the first episode.
I'm
bending
really
me over a little
this.
bit further.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this because maybe it finally means that we won't have to hear about this godforsaken game series ever again because it's complete. They're telling us it's complete.
It's so funny they use the complete moniker.
It says it's complete. That means done. That means finished. Complete.
To Rick's chagrin, because Rick is hoping for a third game. So, yeah, I'm one that I feel that it could end on that second game, like thematically.
It could.
Like,
I don't want it to, but it could.
But he doesn't want to.
I take the Matrix approach.
Wow,
that was a great game. It's a shame they never made more of it.
Oh man, poor Rick, because Rick loves Part 2.
I think this podcast has reached its limit. Let's go.
we need to remove Alex from this podcast for a little bit and bring Hogue in, and then we can have three Last of Us metters on here against Rick.
Oh yeah, no, that would be a singularity of negativity that I don't think the internet will ever recover from. So because like, the funny thing is that Rick loves the first game. He's very like negative about.
I think the first game is one of the best games ever made, and the second game is better in every single possible way.
Yeah.
The first game is one of only 2 games that I have been convinced to play on the grounds that I am allowed to play it on easy mode, the other being Resident Evil, which was too easy. And that is because after learning much, after the massive leaks and spoilers about 2, just had no interest in playing it or owning it or having it in the house. So
I'm just gonna wait till it's free again.
Yeah, but Ray, do you like eventually see what the game was or play it, or you never really?
I played The Last of Us, the first one, on easy mode.
Yeah, and what about the second one?
Nope.
So you just
those leaks.
I have other misery simulators. It's called The News. I don't need it in a video game.
The only thing we'll say that because Rick and I agree with this that a lot of those leaks were not true. Or they were,
okay, but it's not actually about the leaks why I don't want to play it.
Is it more about what it is?
It's about misery simulator. I also didn't finish watching Game of Thrones. I bailed in the 3rd season because I was like,
is misery because it just makes you miserable to watch that. But
yeah, and I am aware of certain plot elements and the ending of The Last of Us Part 2 and what's Joe's phrase? I have other games to play.
Yeah.
my favorite title of Hogue's videos that he's ever done is his "It Can All Be for Nothing" title of his postmortem of Part 2. I love that.
Well,
I don't think
he just said that again yesterday. And
he reposted it
on my mind because he reposted it, and that's such a funny. I don't even know. I've not played it. I don't know, but it's such a funny title to me.
Yeah, it is funny.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny.
It's just a complete misreading or completely missing the point of what the game was telling. But everyone has their interpretation of how they interpret media. So,
misery simulator.
Yeah, I mean, you're justified, Ray. You're good in my eyes. You don't want the misery because it's Last of Us Part 2 is a really heavy game.
Eventually, I fully anticipate them to put it on PS Plus Essential at some point to give away for free because that's the only way I played. That's the only way I played the first one was they gave it away for free. I played the remastered of PS, The Last of Us 1 when they cut it on the PS Plus.
They did it twice. Yeah, they put it like twice. The remaster, I remember, and then it was like $5, easy to get. So
yeah, I played it for $0, so I will wait for $0 for The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, and then play it, Joe, and I would love to hear what you think about that game. But
call up Sony, use your contacts, call Sony up, and tell them to put it on PS Plus Premium, or I mean, the Premium Essential, whatever. Like I have it all right now. So whenever it would be available for me to pay no additional money.
Part 1 was added in the
not one, two.
Yeah, but part 1 was added, that the remake was added for the extra and premium in Last of Us Day at the last state of play. So maybe that around that time is when they will launch it there. But they're selling this, and they probably want to sell the collector.
I couldn't even imagine playing the remake of 1 because Tess looks horrifying.
No, Tess looks so much better. Like if you actually look at
way better in the remake.
Yeah. There's like in Twitter form
it look like she was 60 in those trailers.
She's supposed to be like completely beaten down.
Yeah.
So it actually looks way more like what she should have looked like.
I don't know. I thought she looked horrifying. Like, because Joel looks run down and tired, and Tess looks tired, but she looks like she's aged. Like she looks old.
I mean, you're in the zombie apocalypse. You would
I'm just
age
saying, like I don't know.
And they
I didn't
specifically
like the
have
look.
seen some shit, so they
Yeah.
should look pretty rough.
Exactly. And then we know that obviously season 2 is starting. We know it's half the story of the first game, and to quell fears of it might end here, they announced also that they renewed it for a third season. So the big question right now, like because I was talking with Rick about it, is that what will that third season cover? Will that be are they going to cover the entirety of the rest of that story, which is where that game is at its most important, I would say, to drive the point of what the story is about.
So to put it in completely non-spoilery route, although the game's old enough now, but if I remember correctly, the game is broken into 5 acts. You have your prologue, which ends in the inciting incident.
Mm-hmm.
You have the first part, then you have the second part, then you have kind of a little interstitial, and then you have the last section. Is that correct? Is that how they divide it?
Yeah.
I firmly believe that season 1 is going to be chapters 1 and 2, and then season 2 I think I'm sorry, season 2 is going to be chapters 1 or acts 1 and 2 rather, and season 2 is 7 episodes. I am guessing that season 3 is going to be 10 episodes, and I'm going to guess you have 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. If they don't,
so do we know
like,
if they're doing it in order? Like, are we gonna have?
It sounds as though it is based on IGN's review. It does sound as though it sticks to the game structure, which is interesting because nobody thought it would. Yeah, nobody thought it would do that, but it sounds like it's what they did.
And I feel like the out of order nature of that story is kind of like the way that they need to tell kind of that story.
I agree. I think if you don't tell it in that order, I think you actually ruin what makes that story special.
Yeah, kind of like the surprise of like, why did this happen? And then the flashback tells you why it's important. It's like, oh, okay, I see. So that's kind of like part baked into the cake. And obviously in this panel, there's 2 big Last of Us fans, me and Rick, and we're gonna try something different for the show briefly as season 2 is airing. Me and Rick, we're gonna do like solo episodes, just him and me, like after the airings of every episode from the show. We're gonna do like a mini review, like that we're gonna be posting into the channel and podcast services, as we're gonna,
which will be heavily spoiler filled, so just be ready.
Yes,
Ray will be there. Ray will be on all those episodes, right, Ray?
She'll be chilling.
I already told y'all there is one TV show this year that matters, and it's Murderbot.
Yes, man, I'm getting Last of Us and Andor within the same period. I'm gonna get good TV here right now. So Rick and I, we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be like hopefully posting those episodes around Tuesdays. We're gonna be recording on Mondays after the airing.
What date is the show air? I actually don't know. Sundays. Okay.
Yeah, so airs on Sundays. We record on Mondays, and we're gonna post those episodes on Tuesday. That's gonna be just
it's this weekend, isn't it?
Yep. The 13th.
I better make sure we still have HBO.
Yeah.
Wait, I can watch your coverage and not watch the show and get the full experience.
Absolutely, because we're gonna like describe it, and we're gonna go as big fans of the show.
And you know what? Because you guys enjoy the story and the universe so much, I'll probably have a better time watching you guys talk about it than I would watching the show.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting with our dynamics is that I like the show a lot. Rick likes it fine. That's what's interesting.
I gave the show about a 7.5 to an 8, whereas I give the 10 or the game rather an 11 out of 10.
Yeah. So Rick has a specific bias specifically towards the game, and we're gonna talk about from that perspective.
I'm going to be specifically taking it as somebody who thinks that the story as it is told is almost perfect, and you are planning on taking it more of you're taking it as the show. And I refuse to do that, so that might be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, even though I know the story, I kind of want to analyze it as okay, I'm gonna try to put myself into the minds of Joe Blow that hasn't played the game or hasn't been spoiled about. Yeah, sorry, Joe, you get this straight now.
But you should be used to getting randomly invoked in situations. Joe Schmo, Joe the plumber, Joe.
I am. I'm used to it.
Exactly.
I like to comment on it though because it makes me laugh.
Yeah, so I want to see if it works from that perspective, even though I know the story. Like I know that story really well. I have the platinum of that game, so look forward to that every Tuesday, at least for the next 7 weeks, and then after that, it's just normal scheduled programming.
Are you guys recording on Tuesday or are you uploading on Tuesday?
Uploading on Tuesday because I need a full day for recording and upload. Remember,
we might need to do it the day after because I probably won't be able to watch it till Mondays.
Exactly. Yeah, that works for me.
We'll probably have to record Tuesdays and then upload Wednesdays.
Okay, that works for me. Yeah, just know it's gonna happen. We're gonna be trying.
Too bad you can't watch Saturday and release it Sunday.
Yeah, if only, right? And now we go briefly to some Nintendo news because boy, they've had quite a dumpster fire of a news cycle after the Switch 2's reveal. Rick, I feel the Rubicon got crossed. I feel with so many of the comments made, or had they been justifying game pricing as
they keep trying to fix their mistake by lighting another bomb in the hole that they're standing in.
Eventually you're going to get to the other side of the planet and it's just going to be,
or you're going to melt when you get to the planet's core.
Yeah.
Guys,
the stuff that Doug Bowser and the other guy, Tanirin or whatever his name is,
Bill Trinan. Mm-hmm.
Trinan, thank you. I'm not PR trained, and even I know you don't say the stupid shit they said.
Yeah, Trinan screwed up the talk about like what they said about why they're pricing $80 games. I'm like, you will never justify greed in your case.
It sounds like they got an AI chatbot to write that answer for them.
Yeah, and then the Doug Bowser one, that he was saying that we know that people are not going to be able to afford the Switch 2, so that's why we're like doubling down on making sure Switch 1 is available. It's like, it's a softer way of saying the Don Matrick, we got a system for you. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah, that worked so well for Xbox when Don Matrick said it. That's definitely a solid strategy to follow.
Exactly. They're like they're riding the right wavelength with the post reveal of this system.
It truly just does go to show you how up their own ass Nintendo truly are. Like they do not understand the industry that they are in. They do not care what anybody thinks, which, I mean, there's some merit to that to an extent, but
I don't think they think they're in the same industry.
You're probably right. They have always, even at their lowest, been one of the most arrogant companies that has probably ever really reached like large level success.
Even during the Wii U era.
Absolutely. And like, they just won't. The worst thing that could have happened to them was the Switch's success. I mean, that sounds backwards, but it basically doubled down their complete arrogance of, well, now we can do whatever we want because we're Nintendo.
Yeah. And it was so funny because, like I keep saying, it's like a monkey spot. Like, we desired for Nintendo to do well because they were on their way out after the Wii U, and it's just understoried history and their IP and everything. And then the Switch was just this massive success that reopened the market for portables. But now it's so emboldened. We're seeing what their emboldened is giving them. It's like not a great like.
This is the arrogant Wii Nintendo times 10.
Yes, because they had even bigger success than the Wii, because on top of having getting close to the best-selling console of all time, because Sony doesn't have any other 5 million consoles they're gonna pull up out of thin air and be like, no, we sold this much. They're not gonna be Maricopa County or whatever.
The best thing that could have happened to game players would be Nintendo going under. That would have been the best thing to happen for game players.
I always wanted them to go the Sega route and get their stuff on multi-platform.
For getting those games and everywhere else.
Because if Nintendo went under, they would either have to get their games elsewhere, or they would have to sell off their stuff to other people, and again, it would all end up elsewhere, and we would free Pokemon from the shackles of horribleness.
Yeah, but that's more Game Freak and the Pokemon Company as a subsidiary outside much of Nintendo. But yeah, so like, out of the many headlines that came out here that I've noticed too, I love this one. Switch to physical games do ? Include game and upgrade on card ? Nintendo makes clear as mud. So that's been one of the that's been one of the freaking funniest things about how the PR cycle has gotten away from them. Like, the pricing thing that $90 games was like because people try to make the math with euros, but they wouldn't say anything. They literally wouldn't say anything. You would have to figure that out with like some listings that you found like on a Best Buy or whatever, like retail was trying to sell, to kind of see what they were going with the pricing. We learned slightly like what they're trying to do with the upgrade pass, which I had made the bet it was going to be between $20 or $30, and what ended up happening was the two Zelda games are both either $10 upgrades or free with your Nintendo Switch Online subscription.
And isn't it 20 for Tears of the Kingdom?
No, it's 10 for both.
Is it 10 for both? Okay, I thought one was 10 and one was 20.
To be clear, it's plus expansion pass. It's not just the basics.
Yes, exactly. The expansion pass that gives you everything, including the game.
$60 a year one or whatever it is.
Yeah, the one that gives you the DLC. That's why a lot of people got the Mario Kart DLC, like with the more expensive version of the NSO.
To their credit, I will say the addition of GameCube games plus this does actually make it worth the extra money this time. I didn't think it was before. Like, I just stuck with the $20 a year.
Yeah,
I think they do give you enough to warrant $60.
Especially if you play old Nintendo games. Or the idea of having so much of Nintendo's history like accessible for you Right now, the value of NSO kind of speaks for itself, even doubly more so with the GameCube.
New games.
And
New games, people.
it's a good.
I
All
have
games
no
are
idea
good
what you
too.
said.
He said, "Just play new games." No, you
Just
can
play
always
the
play
new
up.
games. Stop wasting your time with old games. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Weren't
Oh.
you just playing Yakuza 0?
yeah.
Kiwami.
yeah, Kiwami, which is technically
Either
older.
one.
Yes.
You were
So,
just playing like, what is that? My
the,
sense of time is
the
so messed up.
hypocrisy in his play. They
10
get him,
years.
Ray.
It's 10
10
years
years?
next year, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna guess 10 years, and then I'm like, is that way
Zero.
off?
This is the 10th anniversary of Zero. So.
Yeah, it's wild to think about. But me, as someone that believes that you always need to like remember your history to know to know where what's the best pathway forward. I like that history is becoming more widely available there. Then we know the Mario Party and Kirby games, the upgrade is $20 because it comes with DLC. So
yeah, and I don't think it's an unfair ask for additional, especially with like Kirby, where you get I assume whole other levels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think $20 is fair.
Yeah,
for
they
that.
call it
like a very sizable expansion.
Yeah, they call it a whole other world. If you play Kirby the Forgotten Land, like a lot of those worlds are pretty massive, like with different levels. So if they give you another one of that for like an extra $10 on top of the upgrade, it's kind of like getting the Ghost of Iki Island. That's how you got it, like with the upgrade.
Ghost of Iki Island.
Yeah. So, or Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island, however you want to call it. So that's slowly they kind of clear up why that happened, but then there's like the boneheaded decision that the Breath of the Wild like upgrade doesn't also include the DLC. They already confirmed that.
I still cannot get over that.
Yeah, that they're not giving you the full complete edition of that game.
That just makes no sense at all. Like, why even sell it without?
So what do you have to buy?
The
DLC?
DLC.
Buy the game and the season pass thing still on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you already owned it, you're good. But if
you own the game and have Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, you get the upgrade. But that upgrade does not include the what's it called, Champions of
the
Hyrule or whatever it is pack. Yeah. You still have to pay for that yourself.
Yeah, which is
that was included with the Nintendo Switch expansion.
Not in this way,
because they include their DLC. Is what
it's specific games like Animal Crossing and Mario Kart were the ones that they gave that because they were the most like active at the point. And thankfully, if you already own that, it's just like for example, me that I own that I own that
as well.
So like just having NSO, just having NSO is gonna give me that. But for people that are trying to get in new, you're screwed. You're gonna be paying $100.
You got to drop another. What is it? $30 for it? Is that what it costs?
I think it's 20. I think it's 20. I think it's 20.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's getting close to $100.
Was $30. That was the Sword and Shield expansion was 30, which I never bought and played either because I want to spend $30.
It's just silly at this point. Like. Everybody else by now wouldn't even sell the base game anymore. They would only sell the complete version of the game. Not Nintendo. Nintendo's gonna wring you a little bit more dry.
I do have to say, I waited a really long time to play the Middle-earth Shadow of War game because I wanted the orcs the two tribes that only came with the expansion pass thing. And I had already bought the base game, but it took them years to put the expansion pass by itself on sale. For years it wasn't on sale.
I didn't know they ever did.
They did. That's why I bought it.
It went on sale when Sony did what they called their extended play sale, when they specifically focused a sale on DLC packs, and I finally got it.
It was like 2019, if I remember correctly, Joe. Like the first time they did that, so that's when I bought it.
Yeah, it was either 2019, it was like late 2019 or early 2020 because I played the game and got the platinum and everything in COVID. Like that was a COVID game for me.
Yeah, and I bought it before COVID, so yeah, you probably got it in 2019 . But it's just like they're like Nintendo's like, we're the cows. This is Nintendo grabbing our milk tits and just like squeezing us out of us. And then the other Nintendo kind of headline that to me was like notable because it's like the monkey's paw scenario that was based for that direct was the addition of Wind Waker and NSO because I've been wanting the Wii U HD version to be ported.
And Twilight Princess.
Yeah, and Twilight Princess. And specifically Twilight Princess, I'm more excited for that one. And when I saw that it was an NSO, I was like, well, they're not gonna give us the HD version. They're gonna give us
I thought so as well, actually.
Yeah, and then like apparently it was Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny. He interviewed one of the guys there, be like, oh, so now that Wind Waker's here, Wind Waker HD, it's gone. They were like, no. They're like, we still have the chance to release that port because they have precedent of having a version of a game on NSO and also selling you something else. Like
They'll take
Link's
every opportunity they can to get the money.
exactly.
Well,
So
that's the funny part, right? For every single area that Nintendo will just squeeze that cow a little bit more dry, right? There's free money on the table that they just refuse to take.
exactly. It's so funny.
So
yeah.
weird. It's so weird.
Yeah,
That's
they
true. Pokemon games.
Yeah, they don't capitulate to the things that people want the most, but they will squeeze you
They
to the
outright
sides.
refuse to do what people want the most in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and Wind Waker HD specifically has important quality of life for later in that game. That's not there in the GameCube version. Something called the Triforce Quest. Look it up. That's why when the high of knowing that Wind Waker was coming to Switch was like left, I was like thinking, damn it, the full quest is gonna happen. Damn it. I was like, I started despairing because I was like, damn it, I gotta play this again through like in its quote unquote worst version.
Or just don't replay a game you played, you know.
No, I will replay it.
Shut your mouth, Joe.
Yeah, shut your mouth, Joe.
There are just so many games out there. Just so many games.
Sometimes
like,
older games are more fun than the new stuff.
It's like, yes, I am playing Yakuza Kiwami to get the Platinum Trophy. That is 100% true. But the frequency with which I go back and do that is like once every year or twice a year at most. I'm not going back and replaying games multiple times in a year. I'm always trying to play the next new thing.
Yeah. And the medium is beautiful when you're able to, yeah. The medium has the beauty that you can
Except Genshin. Always play Genshin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
There's Genshin. That's
this at least
Risley.
Yeah, and this at least and the thing someone
No,
said,
say that out loud.
yeah, and the thing someone said that actually, I was like, oh, this is probably why they will release it. Is like, Wind Waker will not be available for Switch 1, and they're still gonna be supporting it. But if they make the game like the card available, that's how Switch 1 owners will get it. So that's how they're gonna get the double dips. Hey, either way,
you know they're gonna charge $80 a piece and sell them separately too.
Yep. No,
You just know it.
I know. I just know it. So because Nintendo just like sticking it in the back. So
Mind tricks don't work on me, only money. No one knows what that was referencing.
yeah, I think I've heard that quote. And then finally,
Star Wars?
yeah,
Star Wars Episode 1.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Watto.
Watto, yeah.
Mind
got
tricks
that.
don't work on me, only
Money,
money.
money.
I mean, it's the only thing that I could think of that it would. I don't even care about Star Wars, but I picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, you somehow remember the specific lines from the prequel.
I really like Star Wars Episode 1. I like the prequel trilogy. I think they're
fun.
They're like bad fun. Like they're big dumb fun is what I call it. They're big dumb
Overly
fun.
hated movies, and the sequel trilogy is underhated movies.
Yes.
The sequel trilogy
Preach
is
that.
terrible.
Yeah,
I
sequel
mean,
trilogy's
Force
terrible.
Awakens is fun, but the Last Jedi
Yeah.
was one of the worst pieces of
Yeah.
cinematic garbage I've ever seen.
Yeah, and
That's-
Rise of Skywalker.
That's a good Joe take right there.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
That's one that I'm not
I
gonna
saw it in
like.
theaters twice,
I'm not
I
gonna
know,
fight
it's
back.
bad.
Yeah.
I am
Travis is so wrong about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm completely neutral on the original trilogy of Star Wars. Like they're fine. I just
Mhm.
like I didn't see them until I was like
Yeah,
a
and I feel
lawyer.
and in that one I'm not gonna go too hard on you because I feel like nostalgia carries a lot of
there's
heavily
no
the original
nostalgia. I
trilogy.
literally watched them after I finished law school. Like I was done with law school by the time I had seen
That's so
those
funny,
movies.
so late because you're probably trying to get ready for the sequel trilogy at that point.
Yeah, my ex girlfriend at the time wanted to see the Last Jedi, and I was like, okay.
Ooh.
I've
Well,
never seen any
no
of
wonder
the
she's the
sequels.
ex.
I haven't
Yes.
seen 7 through 9.
Yeah.
I also
She ended
haven't
up
seen
loving
six.
that
Seven
movie.
really
Like,
is. Seven is good, but
Yeah.
eight and nine are terrible.
Yeah,
she ended
watch
up
seven-
loving
yeah.
that movie. That's why I saw it twice because she was like, I got to see it again.
I saw it 3 times in the theaters. I love
Okay.
Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Last
Force Awakens
Jedi.
It's
really,
funny
really good.
because like when Inception came out, I think I saw that 8 times in theaters.
Uh-huh.
But at a certain point, I just stopped watching movies.
And here's what's funny. I used to be in the defense side of The Last Jedi. And it was after like Rise of Skywalker made it clear that it didn't matter. I was like, you know what? I'm stopping defending this movie at this point.
I defended it when we first left the theater, and then like 2 days later, I was like,
Oh no.
man, I'm trying to convince myself I like that movie, and I definitely did not.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, so moving on.
Yeah.
Exactly. The final headline: rumors of Persona 4 remake looking good. URL registered. So,
Okay. Hold on. I got to say something here.
go for it.
Why do we care about this game when the Reload remake didn't fix any of the problems?
It fixed all of them. What are you talking about? It didn't fix any
Yeah.
of them. It fixed almost
It
the
didn't
only
fix
thing.
Tartarus. I'm never gonna play Reload because it didn't fix the biggest issue, which was the Tartarus thing.
But that's not on 4.
La
I
la la
understand
la
that. So
la.
like, why are we
La-
expecting them to fix any problems of 4? I don't know. Does 4 have problems? Does it have anything that needs to be fixed? I don't really know.
As far as I know, no. Like,
Okay.
4 and 5 are usually people's favorites. My favorite is 5, but I
I
never
haven't played any of them.
did play
I've
4. So.
only played Metaphor.
I
That's
have
it.
almost finished 4. I'm pretty sure I'm heading into the final dungeon, And so, being me, I immediately stopped progressing the story to go do the optionals from every previous dungeon.
Does it have any obvious flaws, Ray?
Or?
Yeah, flaws, huh?
No.
What I was saying before you took your headphones off was that my issue with the 3 reload is that they didn't fix the Tartarus dungeons. Like, it's still terrible.
I don't know what the Tartarus dungeons are. I haven't gotten anywhere.
It's just their grind. It's just their regular grind.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I
it sounded
really
like it was plot thing. That's why I took my heads out. Y'all underestimate my ability to avoid spoilers. I have avoided spoilers for Silent Hill 2. I'm still playing the original, and I have avoided spoilers.
Tartarus is literally name dropped in the opening like 10 minutes of the game.
It's literally just the dungeon crawl. Like, that's all it is. Like, it's not a part of the story. It's just like that's the dungeon crawl that you do, and there's like hundreds of floors of it, and it's supposed to be horrible, and they just left it in.
I really don't think it's as bad. It was bad in the older games. I don't think it's nearly as bad as it's made out to be in Reload.
It's just it exists. It still exists in Reload. That's the thing. Like, it's
which is why I'm just never gonna play. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't care. I just don't care. And then the other part of it is also, I don't know if I ever want to go and play the Persona games without the metaphor swipey, knock over enemies in real time combat. Like, that was so convenient.
They actually have a slight version of that. It's not as in depth as it is in Metaphor. But you can still
ambush
slash them. Yeah.
You can ambush enemies in Persona 4 Golden. If you hit them from behind, you get a surprise round or an advantage in the fight. I forget exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I like that I didn't have to go through the turn-based side of things.
No, you still do. You still do.
You still do. It's just easier.
There's no real-time combat at all in Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah, the cool thing with that I heard from Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is that they speed it up, so like you don't need to go through the whole turn base for every single weak enemy. I don't know if that means there's real time combat or what.
It's still turn based. It's still like turn based. You just kind of move around a little bit more.
But no, sorry. So in Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, Yakuza Like a Dragon, you had every smallest, weakest enemy. You had to go full turn based combat. You had to do your whole thing. It was just slow. The whole thing was the full turn-based fight, and the way that you got past that was I had a super space orbital laser attack that just killed everything in one shot, so that sped it up. But from my understanding, they did something so that when you're fighting really weak enemies, you're not going to have to deal with that anymore.
You still have that in all 3 of them, 3, 4, and 5. If you're way over leveled from them, when you hit them on the main thing, it will actually kill them without going into the battle. Or if they're not that weak and you go into battle, you can pull and hold the left trigger, I think it is, and it'll auto battle at a fast forward, and it'll just it'll just decimate through them.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that against things that you're evenly matched. You just want to do it on stuff. It
reminds me a little bit of Metaphor too. So
almost everything from Metaphor was an evolution.
It's almost like Metaphor is a Persona game.
Yeah, it's like Persona 6 fantasy. The Persona 4 remake is coming. I know a lot of people swear by the story of 4 like heavily. And it having the new menu style that's all over 3 and 5, at least 3 Reload and 5. I feel that's gonna be like pretty good for like what's a lot of people's favorite. And I know there's always that battle that some people prefer 5, other people prefer 4, other people prefer 5 Reload specifically compared to just normal 5. Royal. So these all start with R's.
they have Golden for 4.
Golden, yeah.
Royal, Reload, and Re-Fantasio.
Exactly.
The weirdest naming.
Yeah, and that's basically.
There's just. I'm gonna say I think Joe's got a point. There's nothing wrong with Persona 4. There's nothing to really do with it except update the graphics.
Okay, then maybe I'll play that one. If there are no obvious flaws, maybe I'll give that one a shot because I just haven't played Golden.
Because if you play Golden, that's because Golden's available on PlayStation, but it has kind of like the old art style. What I know of you and why you're
it's a Vita game.
It's a Vita game on a press to PS4, so I don't think you're gonna like that. So
I can play it on my Vita.
I will say this in terms of these, there's no downside to 4. That doesn't bother me, but people who truly were that bothered by Tartarus, it's not that overly different in 4. They look different, but they still are randomly generated as opposed to being handcrafted like they are in 5. Like when you're through the dungeons, but they do look different.
Really?
Technically, yeah, they're all randomly generated. Now technically, it's the same deal with Tartarus as well, but it looks similar and like changes the colors and adds some slightly different visual effects to it.
It adds enough to mask the procedural generation.
But I would actually say that by the nature of being a Vita game, the actual layout of the randomly generated maps in 4, I would actually argue is far more boring than even that, and even Tartarus and 3 Reload. But the best by a mile is 5 Royal in terms of the dungeon design, because they are all handcrafted there. There's no
And all these games are
randomization.
basically standalone. So like if you want to play one, you could just straight jump into
I have 5. It's
Royal.
sitting in the other room.
5 is by far the longest, but
I have 5 Royal actually.
I have the original
Royal.
5.
Mhm.
The original 5 because I already had it, and then I was told that they cut something out of Royal, and I was like, I'm playing the original. And then I found out
Royal. I thought everything was in Royal.
Yeah, I gotta say, no, they added a ton of stuff.
Added a ton of stuff into
they
Royal
didn't cut
later on.
anything.
Yeah.
They just added a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
and Royal is 1,000 times better than the base version.
Yeah, I have
Then get
Royal
off
sitting
my-
in the other room.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Rorschach.
Yeah.
I don't have the PS5 version of Royal because I heard that there's no difference.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. There's no difference.
Yeah, the only thing is the PS5 version of Royal is 60 frames, but the thing is that
they both are. No, they both are.
Yeah, the PS4 version.
There is literally no difference between them. Yeah, if you play the PS4 version of Royal on PS5, it runs at 60.
I could have sworn it wasn't, but well, if you only care about like the icon, there it is. Take Rick's.
Yeah, there was zero difference.
That's why I didn't buy it. I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, I'll never need to buy it then because I have the Royal.
And I did buy it, so I'm a sucker. Because I had heard that 60 frames was like the big addition.
As far as I remember, I don't remember there being any difference at all.
Turn-based game.
So,
right, it really doesn't even matter. Right?
Exactly, yeah. And again, I mentioned my brain router yesterday that I always like playing the very best version of anything, regardless of what it, even if it's slight. So I'm gonna actually test them just to double check, and we'll get back to that like next week. It's kind of like as a follow up, but yeah, that's basically the end of the headlines. And just real quick before we get into like the game releases, happy 5th birthday, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're recording on the anniversary of its release on PS4.
Sorry, you are right. It is 30 on. I didn't realize it.
Okay,
I thought it ran at 60, but it doesn't. But it doesn't really matter.
Exactly,
it doesn't matter at all.
There you go. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake 5-year anniversary on June of this year is gonna be 10 years since its reveal. That's kind of wild to think. But man, any quick words you want to say about Remake? It's 5th year anniversary.
Best Final Fantasy game.
Second. Rebirth.
I like Rebirth a lot. I do think I like Remake more than Rebirth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I like Rebirth way better.
Mostly because
the complexity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the challenge. I like the challenge of Remake. I feel like it's better balanced. I don't think Rebirth is balanced at the end of the heart when you're hitting the harder stuff.
Yeah, I will.
Rebirth gets insane late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more. You have to think more about how you like do everything that they give you in Rebirth to kind of like explore a combat compared to Remake. That's easier to just kind of like plow through. Remake
you
again.
Can't plow through. I mean, the platinum for Remake is really
exactly not the platinum. In platinum, you need to like.
But it's balanced. That's the thing. And this is really the only time I've ever thought of like a platinum as like an up or down. But like the difficulty of the platinum of Rebirth is a total turn off, and kind of makes me not like the game as much because I want to get it, but I don't think it's balanced.
And that's why trophy hunting sucks, right there.
I mean, in some ways it does, but there's a little bit more than that. I do think the combat. I don't like most of the new editions of combat.
I love them all.
I really like Red 13. I really like.
Yeah,
I like Yuffie. Yuffie was the good ad, but
no.
Yuffie's an integrate. Integrate is awesome.
Because I got so deep into almost everyone, like the character kits, almost all of them, including one that I thought sucked at first, which was Kate Sith, are so like. When you really get into it, it's like getting into integrate. They're so amazing. It's like
I like them all. I love how every character plays so drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
cool.
I really do.
It is cool. I personally did not care for Red or Kate's combat styles. I loved Yuffie. Yuffie was in my party always because she's so good.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're both and what's funny is that they're both excellent games. I will say with Remake is a game that to me has Remake has. I've grown higher appreciation from Remake how easy it is to replay it, like especially because it's more straightforward. It's like there's something special about how well it captures its section of the game that's easier. It's easier to go back to, and how it really kickstarted my love for Final Fantasy as my second big Final Fantasy that I finished before I really experienced the 7 original. Kind of like what I wrote in my editorial celebrating Reverse 1-year anniversary with the PC release. And excellent game, and man, I can't believe it's been 5 years. I'm still betting in 2 years we're gonna get part 3. I think
so. I think that's right. Yeah,
I believe it's very strongly, especially with how quickly they said that they went into developing it. So, and
I was gonna say I could wax poetic for hours about those two games because
Yeah,
I won't, but I'm just saying I
Yes.
could.
No, I mean I could too, Rick. I'm right there with you. I'm 15 was
Same.
my first Final Fantasy, so
FF7 is my favorite game of all time. It is the game that got me into RPGs, specifically JRPGs.
So many.
And
I never
yeah,
played. I never played the original, so
I was very excited for Remake when it came out, but I thought it would be like, hey, this is great, but not a suitable replacement, if you will. And I can honestly say, like genuinely thinking about it, I cannot think of a single area where I think the original game is superior to this, outside of obviously being a complete story, whereas these are not. But I thought about it, I'm like every single imaginable area about this, I think is superior to the original game. In particular, and I actually, oddly enough, was just thinking about this today. I can't think of a single track from the original game, which was an amazing soundtrack. I cannot think of a single one that I can consider to be better in the original game than I do in the two remake games.
Yeah,
like that is widely regarded as one of the best original soundtracks of all time, right?
Yeah.
Like it is almost untouchable how many tracks are beloved in that, and I believe that somehow they managed to make every one of them infinitely better than the original versions, which is truly incredible. And for my money, it's easily still the best JRPG combat system, and nothing else even is remotely close to as good as Remake and Rebirths.
I do agree. I
satisfying.
totally agree. As much as I liked 16, I do not like
16. I love 16,
combat.
but it's nowhere near as good as these.
Yeah, I don't care for that combat. That's part of the reason I don't have the platinum for 16 is because I don't want to deal with time trials. I don't really like how it felt to do the combat in that game. I was not enjoying that game's playing as much as I was super invested in its story and its world.
Yeah,
and obviously Ben Starr, everyone's favorite.
The story, spectacle, and music was the thing that carried 16 massively, because unless you're really engaged on it at a very granular level as a character action-based game, which especially in the DMC style, it's very particular how perfectly timed you have to do all different movements, and that game also being held back in a way that DMC wasn't with the cooldowns. The 7 remake and Rebirth combat system is just so much better at giving you that active.
The game would have been a lot better without cooldowns. I think I would have enjoyed it more without cooldowns.
The PC version removed cooldowns with mods, and people have been showing how unlocked that combat feels without any cooldowns. Kind of like a SMR.
I don't mind the cooldowns. My biggest issue with it is I hate how you have to select which abilities you have equipped. That's just stupid. At the very least, each one of the ones that you have equipped, you should always be able to have their Judgment Bolt and Hellfire or whatever. Their powerful attack that then has long cooldowns. You should be able to equip 2 of their regular attacks and then have that as a third.
I agree.
It's so absolutely stupid how they made that. How they did that. It's like that kind of ruins a lot of it. But I love that game. I mean, I like it more than most people, but it doesn't even sniff Remake and Rebirth.
Exactly. It's just
but I will say if I have one. This is not really a complaint as much as a wish from Remake. I wish that there was a little bit more of upper plate in that game. I know you technically do more of it than you do in the original game, because the trip when you go up to Jesse's house is not in the original game.
Amazing part. That
part is incredible. But when you're doing that and you're walking along the Mako tubes and seeing Shinra HQ, it's like, man, I would love to see one of the other sectors too, just to see what the upper class of Midgar looked like as compared to the slums. The slums looked amazing. I loved how they, actually, there's one thing I will want to say is one of the most magical moments in that game for me. Well, first of all, the very opening, I actually almost broke down in tears the first time I watched it. I was like, oh my god,
perfectly recreated.
But when you finally get down to the slums, and you can now see what they envisioned the slums to look like. Because before, I couldn't make out in my head what it was supposed to look like, right? But now you look up and you see the bottom of the plate, how massive it is. You look in the center and you see where the tracks go up.
It's incredible.
And it looks absolutely amazing. Like, they did a good job, obviously, with it's just a skybox, but it's just like, this looks so awesome. And not at all what I had imagined Midgar to look like.
Yeah.
and it made Midgar a believable place as opposed to what it was in the original game.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
But-
Like it's just magic. It's just like the remake trilogy is magical. It feels so
It is.
impossible, and I love it. And I love it for that. And I can't wait for whenever we start like celebrating Rebirth as it gets older too. Because
And we'll
like
see, and we'll see what 9 looks like when they do the 9 remake someday.
man, yeah,
I
someday.
love 9. So
I never-
nine might be the single most underappreciated entry in the entire series.
Yeah, because it released so close to
Considering
10.
the two people I know who are super into classic Final Fantasy both have like nothing really to say about it. Yeah, I would it's probably in the running.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
always
5 years.
Yes, 7 and 9 are always like the most beloved in that series. And I know 10 has its fans, and one day I'll get through that to kind of see why some people think highly of 10. I know you don't, Rick.
I am a 10 hater.
Yeah.
in the purest form. I hate that game.
Exactly. It's so funny because it's like the spectrum. Final Fantasy exists in a spectrum. You have your massive appreciators, and then you have
I
your
exist on the spectrum too. So
yes, and then 13 is just the one single spectrum of hatred.
yeah, as bad as 10 is, 10 is still at its worst better than the best parts of 13.
Yeah. So, and now Joe.
And then there's
Plus-
15.
Yes.
Yeah, 15 's
Yeah,
good.
there's 15. I love
Good but flawed.
15.
Good but flawed.
15 's good with
15.
flawed, yes.
15. I have a theory. Final Fantasy 15 is the Kraft mac and cheese of video games. You either love it because it's comfort food, because it's all the tropes that you love and grew up with, or you hate it because you had the real mac and cheese growing up and it's junk.
I mean, I didn't grow up with any of the Final Fantasy stuff, but I love 15. It's a really good game. I was very impressed by it. But
15
that's just me.
did a lot of good jobs at trying to at least get people into thinking of Final Fantasy and getting through one of those games.
Yeah.
It was so close to being great, and it fell just short, and instead
Mhm.
it's just very good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. I agree with
I
that.
really enjoyed it. I knew going in what to expect and what not to expect, and I loved
Yeah, I
it.
did too.
Yeah. The story Brotherhood in
The story is great.
It's
The story
incredible.
really is great.
Yeah, it hits in the feels and more powerful ways than you would expect. Like by the time you roll credits in that game.
Yeah.
Love it. So Joe,
All right.
time to read
Game
the
releases.
releases for the week
Yes.
of April 13th to the 19th.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Here we go. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage Tape 2 is April 15th,
Mhm.
coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Lush Foil Photography Sim, sorry, my monitor is farther away than normal in this setup here, and it's also in a bad color against my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Is coming to PC on April 15th. Monument Valley is coming to Switch on April 15th. Monument Valley 2 is coming to Switch on April 15th. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is coming to Xbox One on the 15th. April 15th? What? That's weird.
Yeah.
It's an HD remaster.
But
Yeah,
only
but-
Xbox
Yeah,
One?
and only
That's
Xbox One, which is
I believe it's already on the other platforms. I think that's why.
I see.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Bionic Bay is coming to PS5 and PC on April 17th. iRobot is coming to Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on April 17th. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle comes to PS5 on April 17th. Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on April 17th. Phantom Breaker, Battlegrounds Ultimate comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on April 17th. Rusty Rabbit comes to PlayStation 5, Switch, and PC on April 17th. Tempopo comes to Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on April 17th. And finally, the Lunar Remastered Collection comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on April 18th.
Rick, did you play Lunar back in the day?
I did not actually.
Yeah,
but I am absolutely picking this up.
Yeah, I've heard great things for people I love.
I've heard great things about Lunar, and the people working on the remastered collection are not, by and large, the people who made the original, which is Justin's hesitation, and these are very much his games rather than mine, so that's my hesitation by extension. But I hope it's really, really good. I'm interested to see Monument Valley and Monument Valley 2, because those are actually on Google Play Pass. I played them. Those are mobile games that Google says have now been ported to other systems too.
Yeah.
Gonna be honest, $10 each is the Switch price, and I think it might be a little
overpriced.
A little for how long they take. I like the first one better than the second one. If they do a bundle for $15, that would be I would call that fair.
That would be ideal. That would be ideal, but it's Nintendo.
Well,
the
it's the
publisher.
publishers.
Yeah,
it's
the
it's the
publisher makes that
studio
call.
because
Yes.
this is fortunately this is not a first party title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but weird things happen in that eShop. And Lost Records, Bloom and Rage Tape 2. I think this is the final episode for this, right?
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
I will now play both of them back to back. I'm really curious for Lost Records. So,
And I would like to direct everyone to check out Mandragora. That game looks sweet.
Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree.
It's a side-scrolling Metroidvania with some slight Souls-like stuff. But Souls-like's probably
None
not
of
right.
the words you said make me want to play that game.
But I look at the art style and I'm like, ooh, I'm actually curious.
That game looks sweet. Don't listen to Joe.
Side-scrolling, Metroidvania, Souls element, like none of that.
Yeah, remember that's like you cannot.
It's more action RPG than Souls.
You can't ever hear any opinions of Joseph anything that's just a side scroller. He's completely discredited, and he doesn't have to say anything or even talk about it.
Also, there's a demo available, so if you want to try it, check it out.
Sweet.
It's that's a definite get for me. I've been watching for that one for a while.
Yeah. After I get paid, I'll burn money on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PS5. I want that game there. I love that game.
Even though you own it and played it already.
Yeah. I technically didn't own it. I rented it on Game Pass.
Even though you played it already.
Yeah. But this is one of those games I love so much. I would like to platinum this one. So, and with that, we reached the end of this week's chunky episode of the X Button. This was a fun one. Love the conversation we had, the meaty, what we've been playing, and all the random combos we got. This is why I love panels.
It was a train that went off the tracks a lot of times.
I know, and I love it. I love it for it. Ray, as our guest, where can people find you?
I mostly disappear from the internet because the world is a hellhole at the moment. I've got a couple things that I'm hopefully gonna get written at some point for Season Gaming, and then it's pretty much just that's me.
Yeah.
Unless you get into Book World, where I am slightly more active in that I actually review books sometimes. But no, in terms of games, I mean when I write stuff.
Yeah, which is always such a interesting quirk of you. And find Ray at Sardonisms on Discord, right?
I am Sardonisms everywhere.
Yeah.
The great thing about having a made-up word for a username is nobody's ever taken it.
Yep. Because you're very sardonic. Joe, where can people find you?
You can find me at Joseph_Law_Rusa on Twitter/X. And you can find my writing at Season Gaming as Don Lionheart. I don't have anything upcoming at the moment. Now we have a date for the Mafia game. We'll see about getting that Mafia piece written some point in the next couple months when it's gonna be a little bit better for the SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Get those views and those clicks for the website there. But that's it for me. And you can obviously check out the latest episode of Summon Sign on Last Stand Media that Alex and I, as he said at the start of the show, guested on this week here. It was good. It was a really fun conversation. People seem to be responding really well to our appearance there and all the comments and things for the patron version of it. So check it out when it's on free feeds in the morning for some of you, and at noon Eastern when it goes live, I'm assuming, for everyone, because that's when the posts go up. So I assume it goes noon for everyone. So yeah, that's it. That's me. Check us out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel here.
Yeah. Rick, how about you?
Butch4969 on basically all the socials. Also on most Fridays, we will be doing it tomorrow. Over at, I think the channel is just youtube.com/spreadingthenerd. Me and my friend Clint do Spreading the Nerd. We will be doing so. But before I do sign off, I did want to say, Alex, Joe, you guys did great on that episode of Summon Signs. That was
thank you.
Thank you.
That show can kind of go up and down in quality depending on who the guests are. But the two of you and Hogue actually, I thought were quite entertaining on that one, and I actually thought you guys all worked together very well. So it was a good episode. I wanted to give you guys a thumbs up for that.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Yeah, it was really fun. To me, it was a dream come true being there with Brad. So like someone you've seen for so long.
Alex is totally fangirling everywhere. He's been fangirling like
he has been. When he told me he was going to be on it, I could hear the grinning in his.
He was fangirling in the Discord afterwards. He's fangirling when he met Brad for the conversation. He was fangirling everywhere. It was very.
Hey, look, Alex. It's rare when you meet your heroes and they're as cool as you know they are. and that was a good experience. So
Yeah, I know.
so loved it so much. And then you can find me at _Drosegovia on Twitter, Segovia on Blue Sky, and my written content at seasongaming.com, where you can read my reviews for Eternal Strands, Monster Hunter Wilds, and Assassin's Creed Shadows, with Expedition 33 hopefully soon to follow, and other editorials that I've written there. So including the Rebirth retrospective, the God of War ranking, and our favorite games of all time that we all contributed to, and the including you, Joe, and Ray, and the Rebirth kind of like PC reviews. So I've been all over. I've written a lot. It's just not reviews. I've only done 3 so far, but chunky for chunky games. So, and another one coming soon. But that's it. I want to thank you so much, everyone that listened / watched to this week's episode of the X-Bond. If you like what you listen and watch, give us a like and subscribe. Thank you to the people that left the 2 reviews that we asked for last time for lucky number 13. We would like more of those. And then we'll be here always every Fridays, same time at same bat channel. Enjoy the rest of
same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, whatever, however it is. I can get, I get like a mix with words sometimes, but regardless of that, enjoy the rest of this weekend. Enjoy the games that keep coming, because the train just doesn't stop. Hopefully you ignore all the nonsense that's happening outside. Hopefully your 401ks are safe. LOL.
Skate harder.
So, and with that, press X. To play. There you go.
Okay. I don't do the sign off, so
I was letting everyone go do the thing.
There you go. And see y'all later. Hasta luego.